everybody.
My name is Ian Bennett.
I'm Martin Moore. We are the hosts of the all-new Said No One Ever podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast services. Dude, 2021.
Dude, we're hosting a podcast-a-thon. I'm excited. I know you're excited. Woo! Let's get this party started. Welcome to the 2021 MPA Podcast-a-thon, the first and only national podcast association and spanning globally. My name is Ian Bennett.
And I'm Martin Moore. We are the hosts of the Said No One Ever podcast, part of the Edge Podcast Network, available now on all your podcast apps.
Yeah.
Is that what you would call it? The podcast apps?
Yeah, I guess
Google,
iTunes, right? Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah.
The good old-fashioned, you can just stream it from the website.
I love that.
I'm Martin Moore. I'm a commercial lifestyle photographer. I also am a vlogger, YouTuber here in the city, and an overall workaholic.
I love it. My name's Ian Bennett. Obviously, currently play for Milwaukee Wave. Let's go. I do a lot of things. I do a podcast. I'm a coach, and I just love life. You know, I'm blessed up, positivity all day. Dude, you changed your lifestyle, right? You've been working out in the gym. You've been getting on this level a little bit.
So I had the unfortunate event of having a COVID 40th birthday, but I was packing on some pounds.
So you saw the before, kind of after pictures.
So
maybe?
I was on another podcast like in March when COVID first started, and I was looking back at the video of it, and dude, my neck was like.
So you had wide neck.
It was a big neck,
wide neck.
and like my back had a little extra on it.
Oh, your little bump.
I looked at it, I was like, boy, you need to do something before you turn 40. So I just started going to the gym, eating healthy.
I respect that, man.
I'm feeling good for being 40 years old. I'm trying to have the world's best dad bod. So.
Nice, but so do you have like a curriculum? Do you got a regimen, like a routine now?
I try and drink less.
Love it, I love it.
And eat maybe not a whole Jack's pizza.
That's good though, but hey, that's honestly, you're trying your best. That's all you gotta do.
I'm just trying to be like you.
Milwaukee Wave is coming back this year. We had a layoff last year, so they're coming back strong. So you'll see a lot of me again in the social media part. And you can find me and Martin doing our thing together. We're always on social media, always spreading positivity and all that good stuff.
You know, one of the biggest things that's happened since COVID is like, last year, 2020, I was just, did nothing. Man, it was just nice chilling, going to picnics, doing all that stuff. And now that like everything's opening back up, I'm like, I don't want to be out there like around people doing anything. I really enjoy being an introvert, but this podcast, man, this is the one thing I'm pouring my heart and soul.
I'm trying to get out and go, man. I'm trying to get out and go.
Swimming in the lake.
Oh, I don't swim in the lake.
With this 90-degree weather, it's nice and crazy.
I don't swim in the lake.
Dude, how did we get here?
Dude,
we're only like 4 or 5 episodes into our show.
Yes.
Here we are hosting the podcast-a-thon. Dude, how does it feel?
Dude, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on us, but I feel good about it, right?
I do. Well, we've known each other for a while. I've been on your Inspire Greatness podcast.
Yes.
And I don't know, we go really well together.
I think we got a good vibe, right? It's like cookies and cream.
We have a lot of energy.
Yeah,
some may say too much energy. I would
lot of energy.
argue not enough.
No, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. We're gonna host a lot of good shows. But I'm excited about our show. I think it's.
What's been your favorite part?
Ooh,
and least favorite part.
Least favorite. Honestly, I don't have anything least, but I have a lot. I think Hustle Porn was good.
Episodes.
I think Sam was awesome.
Dude,
I got to meet that guy.
Our first episode you can get now. It's called Hustle Porn. We talk about hustling, grinding,
hustle and bustle.
just the glorification of being workaholics, which is something that we.
Sam was a good dude.
We dabble in a little bit.
Yeah.
We have another one, Cult Culture.
Yes.
What other ones do we have?
Man, we had obviously we had the Awesome Girl, Lifestyle Magazine.
Speak Life Shawnee, Can Gen X and Racism.
Yeah, it was good.
We got Justin Jackson, who used to play for the Atlanta Braves.
Dream Jobs, right?
Yeah, Dream Jobs. I'm excited about that.
I'm so excited about that. I'm excited about all these different shows, though. I'm so excited. We have so much great shows on this network. I'm excited to get into it. I want to learn more about those other shows, and we can all come together, and it's going to be I think this is a beautiful family.
I like it. Get this show rolling. We are here today to highlight some national podcasts and give you guys a taste of some of the shows and hosts that you can find on this National Podcast Association.
This show is benefiting the charity Live For right now at the 5013C and working on raising money for wheelchairs and give opportunity to kids that have physical limitations to play sports. You can go to live-4.org right now and donate to this cause.
For today only, you can get 50% off all memberships through midnight. Go to nationalpodcastassociation.com and enter in code NPA Hot Summer, link below.
Including with your membership, you get a newsletter, your podcast promoted on social media, pre-public access to events, workshops, and networking for your show, content, and more.
This association, the first one of its kind, with podcasts and hosts from around the world. Join the 500 members today.
Hey, Martin, now on to the show.
Woo, let's go.
Let's go.
Our first podcast is Thoughtful in the Dark. It's hosted by Ralph Cortez. He's a storyteller, and this is a personal journal podcast. It's suspenseful, it's emotional, it's spiritual. This is Thoughtful in the Dark.
Can't wait.
Hello to you all. My name is Ralph Cortez, and I am the author and content creator for Thoughtful in the Dark, the podcast. I am thrilled to be a member of the National Podcast Association and to also be featured in this podcast-a-thon. Thoughtful in the Dark initially started as a storytelling personal journal blog. This is the venue by which I made public every material I have written, from those inspirational evenings during junior high school all the way to the present. I decided to use this material as a permanent mark from me to my friends and family after I am gone. The sources of inspirations have been many, from imaginary characters and stories to my very own personal experiences. Everything you hear in my podcast comes from individual stages and memorable moments of my life. I do not need much to get inspired, and this is the base of who I have become. In 2017, I had the blessing to produce and self-publish my first ebook with some of this material. But as we grow into diverse opportunities and changes, the idea of having this material shared in audio tracks with similar ambience felt at the time of their creation seemed like a fantastic idea to me. And as I began to immerse myself in this project, I came to the realization that it had not only become an enjoyable task to handle, but little by little, it has also become an outlet, an avenue where I mentally drive on at high rated speeds to escape from reality and simply feel better. As a U.S. Army veteran with a service-connected disability and other medical conditions that have turned my life into a constant pain management challenge, the idea of all this seemed welcome. Today, I would like to share with you one of those inspirations. A simple dandelion flower that I saw walking one afternoon during lunch break at work, and that inspired this material when I dared to compare her with a special friend of mine. It is a personal heartbeat made into text and now into a shared audio personal experience. This episode is titled, It Was Easy. I hope you'll enjoy it. I had just finished an exceptionally light lunch. I wanted to spend as little time as possible eating in order to have my usual midday walk. It has become a healthy routine of mine to do so. I find it not only good for my body, but it is also a therapeutic escape from the heavy burdens of my mind. I use that time to simply fly away with an airborne imagination and just be me, and perhaps even go somewhere else. That afternoon became a completely different one, however. The simple routine suddenly morphed into an extraordinary event. I remember having heard the landscaping team mowing the grass and beautifying the place, something they did every Wednesday. But just when I was about to turn the corner of McFadden Avenue, I saw her standing in the middle of nowhere, right in between the sidewalk and the building's western wing. They are called dandelions, a singular grass flower that grows with a beautiful yellow montage while spreading through the field like a queen. Some consider them invaders because with just a small fraction of distraction, they can quickly overtake over any lawn. This one caught my attention. She somehow survived the blades of the machinery and the mortal slashes from the trimmer lines. I could not contain my amazement. And then I did something I would never have imagined. I got close to her, and weirdly enough, I began to talk to her. I told her that I somehow identified with her vast space of loneliness, standing beautifully against all odds and going through the petals of a man-made purification process that was supposed to have eradicated her. Yet, there she stood, defiant, strong, beautiful. I told her that I felt similar in wanting to spread my thoughts as fast as she could spread over the field. I mentioned that her beauty was fascinating to me. Small green leaves of hope that surround and protect the core of love in the form of a gentle yellow flower while rising to any occasion, or threat for that matter, of the unpredictable stages of life. I whispered in her stem of how sorry I felt about the hands of men and the ease in which they could force her to be in that position. I opened my heart and began talking to her about my past, my feelings, my goals, and especially my expectations. I was sincere with her. I told her I did not have many. I said I had learned that when you expect nothing, pain is unable to reach you. In the matter of healing, her open space alone was a metaphor of the battles of my seeking heart, and that sometimes these did not do any good to me. You see, expectations are like a fragile pottery. The harder you squeeze them, the more likely they will crack. And I felt scared of the vision. She seemed to understand what I was saying and gently danced with the wind in the form of acknowledgement. She could say a lot but not saying much at all. She just moved, occasionally turning her beautiful face towards me as if she were smiling. My 30 minutes were almost gone and I would have to return to the office soon. And with the gust of a gentle breeze, I could almost hear her repeating Brian Tracy by saying, "Positive expectations are the mark of the superior personality." I had to agree. Circumstances have turned me into a defensive and cynical man in so many things. I lacked the innocent and optimistic approach I once had growing up. Those days when I felt nothing was going to be able to stop me. I remember when I was ready to take over the world. It does not seem that long ago. I sometimes wish I could go back, but perhaps first time was right. If you want love, you're gonna have to go through the pain. I have done my fair share of that, and I can quite honestly say that I am getting better at it. Day after day, I seem to take longer steps. It seems like I can retain more air in my lungs and feel alive again. And as I was saying these things, the wind tilted her structure over my hand as if caressing me with her soft constitution and grabbing a tear that escaped from my eyes. No one saw her standing there that afternoon. I alone had that blessing, and I was glad that I approached her. That small talk brought a sense of revitalization to my heart and gave a soothing kiss to my thoughts. I felt very thankful, but moreover, I felt extremely happy. The connection of man with nature is sometimes taken for granted. We will never fully understand all the beauty and healing that comes from it. But that afternoon, I grabbed a glance of that beauty. I was part of a cosmic universal dance where time stood still and my heart felt renewed with a connection like no other. Just by noticing a defiant, strong, and beautiful flower. And as fast as I got up to return to work, a second breeze flew through her petals straight to my ears, where I was able to easily hear her say, "Thank you for keeping me company and talking to me. I was feeling lonely, and I needed it." I liked that very much. I felt as if we had known each other already. I never knew how much a simple conversation could do to my roots. Believe me, I like that very much. And before you go, I want you to know something. It was easy talking to you. It was easy talking to her too. Thanks. As you may have already noticed, it is simple to relate to what I go through. I am almost 100% sure that similar stances have become part of your life as well. With Thoughtful in the Dark, the podcast, this is exactly what you will venture into. Personal experiences, stories, anecdotes, and testimonials of events that have reshaped me as a man and defined my thoughts. You will go through a roller coaster of emotions, as one entry's emotions may be completely different from the previous. There is a big possibility that you will be able to identify yourself with some of these experiences, but at the same time, some of them will appear to be something different to you. Nevertheless, I believe that you will find this material easy, interesting, and fun to listen to. Perhaps we may even end up sharing some of these thoughts. Now that would be something great. I am currently scheduling new episodes to go live every Wednesday through most of the popular podcast directories, such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and Deezer, among others. My name is Ralph Cortez, and I am the author and content creator for Thoughtful in the Dark, the podcast. I would like to thank the National Podcast Association for this opportunity to meet you all and for giving us the platform to reach even more people. Thank you very much, and if I may dare to request, please keep inspired, continue to thrive, but most importantly, keep creating. Till next time.
And welcome to Go Ask Your Father, the podcast for dads, by dads, and about dads. Before we get started, I just want to send a big thank you out to everyone at the National Podcast Association for selecting this show to be a part of their first ever podcast-a-thon. I am truly humbled to be running my mouth for a little while among some truly talented individuals. Before I get started with the show, however, let me get the admin out of the way. You can find the show on Facebook and Instagram at Go Ask Your Father Podcast. There, you can get your daily dad joke, random memes and stories, and more importantly, where you can find the show. We can also be reached at goaskyourfather4@gmail.com. Today, and for your entertainment, I would like to talk about some of my favorite fathers I've had on the show, parts of their stories, and the impact that they had on me and my walk in fatherhood. You see, every dad has a story to tell. Sometimes they had a unique path to fatherhood that very few share, while some have a more common path that dads near and far can relate to. Each story told is a way of reaching and letting other dads know that they're not alone. To start off the episode, I'd like to talk about my buddy Dave and his wife. They have a son who had a fairly difficult beginning, being born early and having a few medical issues at birth, but was soon brought home into a loving family. However, within the first year, their son Ezra's life took on a big challenge. Let's let Dave tell the story.
So I, hung up, clocked out. I went into the truck and I just scream cried for 20 minutes to just get it out. I had to get because if I had drove like that, it would have been probably really bad news. But I was I was screaming why? He's a literal baby. He's done nothing. What is that? I was so angry and I was so upset because you are. And, when I finally got at least enough of that out to be able to drove up there, saw the doctor, got specifics, got all this stuff. And our cancer doctor, Dr. Pegram up at CHKD in Norfolk, I wanted to specifically shout her out because she is such an uplifting and bright person. Like if you have to have a doctor tell you a diagnosis like that, she would be the one I would choose, because she looked at us and she said, "You're gonna think I'm crazy, but this is a good thing. Like what he has is a good." And she's like, obviously not having it is a good thing, like obviously, but
Not having it is
Sure.
the best thing, but if you're
But-
gonna have it,
right,
this
like
is
the
good.
type he has, his age, everything they could identify about it was good, because it was a high survivability rate at his age. Because honestly, his the cancer he had is called neuroblastoma, and it's common among younger children. And the older they are, the more severe of a case it is. So him being less than a year old actually helped him as far as survivability. And basically the cells in him that would normally grow and everything were had become tumors. And but as he grew and as the cells matured, they would just mature anyway. So along with getting his chemotherapy to knock out the cancerous cells, like they just his body basically just rejected it and said no and kicked the cancer out. So in addition to already knowing he was a warrior in like taking chemotherapy messes with grown people, like seriously, like you don't feel good. So to know that
No, I watched my dad go through it.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
so to know that a 1-year-old was taking chemotherapy and just like going about his life still,
And he was a beast
Yeah,
about
he
it too.
was.
I mean, he was just like,
all right, I guess we're doing this.
chemo, whatever,
Like,
guys.
It's like, I guess we're doing this, fine, whatever. But
Let's move on with it.
yeah. And
I'm one. I got things to do.
I mean, yes. Oh, and boy, is he doing things, let me tell you.
I was gonna say, I hear him in the background.
I think you can hear him.
Oh, I can hear him.
Yeah. But that's it. That's part
awesome,
of it,
man. No, Ezra has recovered and is now living his best life, but it's the kind of road that not many fathers walk. Dealing with a diagnosis like that so early in your child's life, it's hard to bounce back from. But Dave and Charlotte are doing just that. The next dad I want to talk about, another man who came upon fatherhood in an unexpected way, is my friend Randall, founder of the nonprofit group We Are the Echo, specialized in supporting foster families in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. If you want to learn more about their organization, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram and are on their website, but we're getting a little bit off track. What stirred in your heart to want to adopt?
Well, the simple answer is the Lord stirred in my heart, to want to adopt. But it really started with Eli. And this is not anything that it surprises people to hear this fact about our family. But Eli is biologically not mine.
I knew that. He's always been your son. So
yeah. And it surprises people, because it's not like we wear shirts that say, he's adopted. It's not anything that we hide, but it's been a part of our life from the very beginning that we assume people just know it. And so it's not anything that we really like make a huge deal about. But when Kelly and I met, he was 2.5, I believe. And other than his grandfather, at that time, I was the second man in his life. And so when it came time, when we got married, before we got married, we already had started conversations about step-parent adoption, because his biological father was out of the picture and did not have any interest in being in the picture. And so we started those conversations very early, because for anybody out there who is dating a single mom, you don't get mom and no one else. It's everybody, and so it's a different dynamic, and you have to have some serious conversations early on. And so so we pretty early talked about this whole family thing, and we called it Instant Family before that was a movie, by the way. So we talked about this idea of instant family, that it was, if we were going to pursue this relationship seriously, then we needed to always keep that, in the forefront. And so, before we got married, we already started having conversations with an attorney and figuring out what the process would look like and all that, so that once we got married, we fulfilled the 6-month process that the state of Alabama needed for us to then be able to go to court and make it official. So the simple answer at the beginning, the Lord put it in my heart, but really, mine and Kelly's relationship started with these conversations, and I don't think it would have had I not already kind of had something in my heart that the Lord had been stirring. And that's just, the Holy Spirit works that way. He plants these seeds so that when it comes time to have the big decisions, that some of these seeds have already been planted, and he's already kind of been nurturing your heart for that sort of thing.
For the last part of this episode, or this segment, I suppose, I'd like to highlight a very good friend of mine. My buddy Doodles recently joined the Fraternal Order of Fatherhood with the birth of his son Ryder. However, the journey to being a father unfortunately took a little longer than he or his wife really wanted it to. But let's let Doodles explain. But you guys, and this is obviously a difficult question, difficult thing to talk about. But you guys did have some difficulties with conceiving, and there's a lot of people out there who have those difficulties with conception and having a biological child. I mean, are you okay talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's game on.
All right. I mean, just how did that make you feel? I mean, is it just like, how frustrating was that for you guys?
For anybody going through fertility problems while you're married, all I have to say definitely tests your marriage, because the female, the wife, she is putting her body through thick and thin with all the medications, the injections. I mean, all that is doing is just her hormones are not the same. They're constantly going 360 degrees, in circles and circles. That came with mood swings. And, obviously that's always a hard thing to deal with. And also the stress level is there as are we going to have a kid? Are we not going to have a kid? Are we ever going to have a family, with her problem? Because my wife has PCOS. So basically we have to have help getting pregnant. So we tried for over a year and some change before we were successful. And a lot of that came with stress, grief, anxiety, definitely a huge battle with each other. Our marriage was tough. I mean, I'm not saying it's not tough, because everybody's marriage is tough at some point. We constantly are learning about each other. But the hardest thing for me was trying to figure out how I could be the rock, how I could be there for her during this tough time conceiving, because the female's body is constantly going 360 degrees with all the stress inside. So definitely that's what I would have to definitely say. It was just a huge marriage test as well. So I was on shift at the firehouse. And the next day when I got off, we were supposed to go up to DC and drop $7,000. So, and hopefully to get pregnant. So Megan told me, hey, I have to come up to your work because we had to fill out a bunch of paperwork, yada, yada, yada. I said, all right. So she came up to the firehouse, and then our dog, she jumped out of the truck, and she had a bandana that said "Best Big Sister Ever." And then me being a smart guy, I had to think about it for a minute. It didn't really click in. And then I saw Megan, smiling and in tears, saying, "We're pregnant. We're gonna have a baby." And I just stared at her, and I was like, "Really? Is it mine?"
Every father has walked through the door of parenthood in different ways. Some we can relate to. Others we just have to sit in awe and try our best to put ourselves in their shoes. I've gotten a chance to do a lot with this show, and I've gotten to talk about fatherhood with some truly amazing men. I put together a series of episodes to try and narrow down the best father in television history, and this past April I got to have my wife on, where we talk about our son and his autism diagnosis, and spent the rest of the month spreading the word about autism and some of the amazing people who work in different therapies to help those who have the same diagnosis. This has truly been an awesome journey to walk through, and I'm thankful that there's a medium in which I can talk these things out. I'd like to wrap up this episode by saying thank you to the MPA for having me on. And if you tune into the show this coming week, we're going to be having our first true discussion episode about the role of fatherhood in a galaxy far, far away. Until then,
Bobby, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is to help great-minded entrepreneurs to share their business info with others and grow their brand. Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast.
Let's get to it. Yes. Hello again. My name is Angel, and I'm the host of this wonderful podcast, the Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. Thank you again for joining, and I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are listening. Please remember that if you're listening to this audio, it's going to be available through the Anchor app, okay, and Google Podcasts, and it's also brought to you by Spotify, okay? So, thank you guys for joining. Please share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate any feedback that I could get, any comments, because today I have a very special guest. Her name is Carmen Santos, and she's a network marketer. Yes, that is not a new title. That's something that's been around for many years. Network marketing, business that you could do from home, right? And it's great to have her here because she's going to be talking to us about the benefits of doing network marketing from home. She's going to be talking about how you can make income, right? And why she decided to do this and talk about her product, okay? So let's welcome Carmen Santos to the show. Carmen, how are you today? Thank you for joining.
Hello, Angel. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm very excited to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carmen. So let's get right into it. Thank you for joining the show, first of all. So talk to me about For Life Research and whatnot, the immune system company, right? Because you do network marketing from home. So what are the benefits of doing network marketing from home?
Yes, Angel. I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be part of this company because I can do by home. Because I had a daughter and a mom, and I have my daughter. She is 9 years old, and she needs all my time with her. And I'm very excited because I can do in my house. I can watch my daughter. I can do everything, whatever I want, but my daughter is with me. That is the most wonderful benefits. This working network marketing is. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. The things that I have in my hands.
Yeah, so because you have time to be with your family. That's awesome. So that's one of the benefits, and that's awesome. So network marketing, how does network marketing work for you? How do you talk to people about network marketing?
And just Angel, it just depends because you have to be a part of the wonderful company, and you can associate with the nice company, and you just do the
Because
things.
you said that they could do a link. They could subscribe
they could join your team with that link, correct?
Yes, you can just join with me and just like working like everybody work together.
Okay, so they could get like a residual income, right? Because what they do is your company, from what I understand, and I did the research, is that they could join your team, and for them using the product and recommending the product to other people, they could make money, right?
Yes, and recommend the products and just make money. It's very easy to make money in network marketing. You know, when you understand how network marketing works, it's very easy to do it. And just
Yeah,
like recommend, just like I'm in my house and just do everything about the websites and everything.
the
And thanks
computer.
God
Yeah,
we had all those systems now that you can do everything in your house. The only thing that you need is a smartphone. You need a
that's
phone
it.
and you just recommend with people and just talking with people. And I like to
Wow.
talk. I like to talk. And that's for that. The
Yeah,
company pays me for talk
yeah.
and just
Recommend the
how
product.
people to be this wonderful Platters Angel, because we have the best Platters in
So,
the world.
so talk to me about your product because I see there you have the product. What is that product? Go ahead and talk to me about that product. Go ahead.
Okay, Angel, we have so many Platters in the company, but the only one that I want to talk to you guys today is about this Platter they call transfer factor.
Transfer
The
factor. What
transfer
is transfer
factor
factor? Uh-huh.
Transfer factor is going straight to your immune system. Everybody has immune system in this world, and just like the only thing that you need to do is put your immune system strong. This is the way this working with this platter. Just make your immune system strong and just like go straight to your immune system, especially in this time that we had the pandemic
Yeah.
around and a lot of people sick around, and I need my immune system is strong, and that's what I take this platter. It's not a vitamin, it's no mineral, it's a
Molecule.
molecule. It's a
So
molecule.
it's not a vitamin, it's not a mineral, it's a molecule. Okay.
It's a molecule, and this light is wonderful because I'm put in my body molecules, and that's making my immune system great and
Stronger.
stronger. And I'm very just I go outside, I don't have angel that what do you like
That
just
fear that you're gonna get
they
sick.
feel they can be sick or something like that. No, because I'm 100% sure that this platter is make my immune system stronger.
Okay,
This is
now I know you have many products, but the products are also available for children.
yes, we had everything. We had everything. I have my daughter, and she's 9 years old, and I'm very happy because every day when
Yeah.
she's going to school, she's taking those platters, and this made mommy very relaxed and very like that my daughter is taking a good things, and I put in my daughter's body the best thing in the world, and this
Exactly.
is wonderful because she's never sick, and she's around a lot of people in the school, and especially in the pandemic, she was in the school and she's taking these platters every single morning before she goes to school. And
Ah,
I'm
that's
very
good.
excited. I'm very happy. Very
Absolutely.
happy.
So that's great. So anyone who wants your products, they can visit that website right there on the screen. Okay, and then so now you make a residual income. Talk to me about residual income a little bit. How you make that money? Is it every month that they pay you?
They pay me every month, and they pay me, because we have in almost 80 countries right now. And
Okay.
when you just like when you associate with this company, you have a link, and you have you own a store,
Web
and you
store.
just
Okay.
like and you just like send you link to anybody that needs this planner, and the company pays me the next day. This is like the word, this working.
Wow. A little technical difficulties there. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we
Go
here,
ahead. Okay.
Angel.
You were saying again about the income?
The
We're in over
income
80 countries, right?
is like if I send my website to China, to somebody that need transfer factor in China. And I sent my, the website that you guys see over there, the forlight.com, and my name, Carmen Santos, and somebody that, and that link. And
They click on the link, you get paid.
By transfer factor, the company pay me next day.
Okay, that's very interesting. And then if anyone wants to buy the product as well, they could visit your website. Okay.
Exactly, and I have my own store. This is my store. This is like it's a wonderful. That was the best thing that I have in my hands right now, an Angel, because I need time. I need the time, and time. Somebody has money, but they don't have time. Or somebody has like help, but they don't have time, and I need the time. Like go vacation, because I can do my network marketing in every country, and I can go to Colombia, and I can do over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going with me. That's going with me all the time. I'm very happy. I'm just enjoying a lot, and I'm excited to be with you guys today.
Thank you, Carmen. Well, thank you so much. I'm definitely going to check out your website, look into more about For Life research and whatnot, and check your links. So thank you again for joining the podcast, and thank you. So it's not a molecule, it's not a mineral. I mean, it's not a vitamin, it's not an herb, it's a molecule that gives your immune system the intelligence to fight against viruses. Perfect.
Yes, Angel. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me in this show.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Carmen. We'll keep in touch, and I'll see you on the next episode. You have a great day.
Thank you, Angel. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, guys. There's her link right there. Follow her at www.forlife.com/Carmen Santos. If you're interested in this molecule, the immune system company, go ahead and follow her, and you could buy her products. You could join her team as well. She's in over 80 countries, so she's available to help you. Contact her. Look her up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Carmen Santos, and she'll be glad to help you. So, Guy, thank you again once more for joining the Young Entrepreneur Mindset podcast. And I hope that you can follow me on all the social media platforms and also on the podcast links on iTunes, Anchor.com, Spotify. Look me up. Okay. Thank you again for joining, and I'll see you on the next episode. God bless and take care.
Next up is TMG, a podcast by Travis Patton. It's an education podcast where you can discover and share real-life moments of inspiration by everyday people.
Bam, that's smooth.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to TMG. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. I enjoy discovering and sharing real-life moments of inspiration from everyday people. And this show is about finding moments of inspiration for our everyday lives. And look, and if you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good. Hey guys, listen, sometimes it's easier to manage what's in front of us by talking ourselves through it. We cannot guarantee that everyone will understand us, but just maybe, it can help us make a little more sense out of it all. Today, guys, if you got something on your mind, then we need to talk. This is going to be good. Let's go! Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TMG. That's Tell Me Something Good. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. Hey, real quick, guys, don't forget to visit our Facebook page. That's Tell Me Something Good with the capital T. I want to give a shout out, of course, as always, to my lovely wife, Nicole. I also I want to take the time to thank everyone tuning in all around the world. This show, in a very short time, is being heard in over a half dozen countries all around the globe, not including right here in the United States. I'm completely excited and grateful for that. I'm grateful to everyone who's all our faithful listeners as well. And to all of our first-time listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. You are a very important part of the show. You're the reason why we make these episodes, guys, because you are that important to us. So, guys, today we want to talk about let's talk, or we need to talk. And sometimes, especially in this kind of COVID environment, there are things we need to talk, we need to get off our chest, and need to find a positive outlet to sometimes things that are pretty rough to talk about. You know, guys, in today's society where everything is done on social media, people break up on social media. They find out that they're no longer in a relationship on social media. There's no more calling to somebody or talking to them. Your status changes on social media. And everything is done digitally almost. So it's kind of just, everything is done not the same way it used to be when I was coming up. And it's kind of a pretty common thing to put someone else down when we dislike them. It's kind of pretty common when we dislike them or they've done something to us that we don't like. It's pretty common to put others down when we dislike them, or if they've done something to make us angry or upset. Now, I'm not saying they don't deserve, you feeling some kind of way about it, but it seems to be pretty common that if we dislike someone, to kind of put them on blast, so to speak. And it's pretty common to put someone down when we dislike them, or if they've done some things to make us upset. But here's what's something that I've learned. But throwing dirt on others, just get your hands dirty first. Yeah, when we try to throw dirt on someone else, the biggest result out of that is that we get our hands dirty first. So what's the benefit of that? If we're going to throw dirt on someone, we have to be prepared to understand that we will also get dirty. It's impossible to throw dirt on someone else without first getting your hands dirty. And I've learned that if you're getting to be a better person, or if you're achieving some things and others aren't achieving them, that's not time to get jealous and throw dirt on somebody, because here's what I learned. Because you getting up will never cause you to look down on someone else. You getting up will never cause you to look down on someone else. Life sometimes kind of goes in cycles or seasons. And this may be your cycle. This may be your season where things seem to be going really well for you, where things seem to be going just great, where the promotion seems to be working, the job seems to be going well, despite the pandemic, things seem to be going really well for you. But one thing I've learned, that your up day may be somebody else's down day, and it can flip in a minute, because your getting up will never cause you to look down on someone else. So we aren't in a position to always put someone down. Look, things can be tough when you're trying to change them, and we're all trying to make a change in our lives, a positive change. And look, let's just be honest, COVID has made everyone rethink how we do things, right? It's caused businesses to rethink how they see their employees and how they do things. And things can be tough when you're trying to change them. When you're trying to change the way you think, and you're trying to change the way you eat, or trying to change the way you live, things can become tough. They can become hard and difficult. But here's what I know, but it will only remain impossible until you change it. It's always a journey and not a destination. When you come to the end of one path, don't be afraid to make your own. You know, we always want to try to follow the path of the individuals that before us, so we always want to follow a certain path. But you can't be afraid to create your own path when you've come to the one that you've been following. Don't be afraid to stretch out on your own and make your own path. A lot of the frustration sometimes we feel is because we've come to the end of the path that's in front of us. And we want to know what's the next move. Maybe your next move is you creating your own path. Realize this, that detours are just another opportunity to try again. Life will bring detours. Everyone will have detours. If we were to look over our lives right now, a lot of us can say that it's not how I expected it to be, or this is not where I expected to be at this point, or at this age, or this stage in my life. I expected things to be differently. I expected this to be differently. I expected my job to be differently. And with the advent of COVID coming in, I'm pretty certain a lot of things are not the way we expected them to be or to become. Detours are just another opportunity to try again. Look, everyone that's been listening to the show know I love a good story. And I always like good anecdotes and kind of learn from them because they're pretty good sometimes. So I want to share something with you that you may not be aware of. And yes, it's a story, but truthful facts to it. So in case you weren't aware, I want to share something with you. Guys, this is a story about chicken. There's just some interesting facts about chicken. And I know we said in the beginning, I said let's talk about it. We want to talk about some things. And I think this is going to really play into what we're talking about. So let me share something with you that you may not be aware of. There are more than 500 chicken breeds throughout the world. Now, I'm not just saying on one continent. It says throughout the entire world, there are more than 500 chicken breeds throughout the world. And according to the Smithsonian, that makes up some 25 billion chickens in the world. Listen, there are more of them than any other bird species. So that's a lot of chicken wings around football time. That's a lot of chicken legs. But either way it go, 25 billion chickens. That's a lot of chicken sandwiches. 25 billion chickens in the world, and there are more of them than any other species in the world. And listen, and they aren't completely flightless. I know we think of chickens, we think of them as being flightless creatures and these birds that can't fly. But they aren't completely flightless. They can get airborne enough to kind of get over fences or into a tree if need be. Let's say if a dog was chasing them, they can kind of flap enough to get into a tree and get to safety. They can flap enough to get over a fence if something was in their way. So they can flap enough to take them where they need to go. But unlike their other feathered counterparts, they don't soar high into the clouds, and they don't perform fantastic aerial feats. As a matter of fact, its wingspan is about 60 centimeters, 17.7 inches. And despite some of their obvious deficiencies, they are some of the most recognized animals on the planet. Now, they don't soar into the sky like eagles or like hawks, and they don't swoop down on prey, but they are some of the most recognizable animals on the planet. No matter which continent you are on, or which language you speak, or what culture you are from, chickens are one of the most recognizable animals on the planet. From age 2 to 200, they recognize a chicken. But they aren't called flightless birds because they don't have wings. So they do have wings. But what they do have lifts them up anyhow. Remember, I said its wingspan is about 60 centimeters. That's roughly about 17.7 inches. So they aren't called flightless birds because they don't have wings. But what they do have lifts them up anyhow. They possess a good wingspan and a strong flap. All I'm saying is this. Just because it can't fly high to the height of other birds does not make it any less of a bird than an eagle. It has the same instincts to fly, and it will still try. And even when all it can do is flap, it still moves along. So what's my point? Here's my point. If you don't have the lift you want, then find the flap that you have and use it. Don't become frustrated by what you don't have, because sometimes a flap is all you need to get things started. Look, guys, I gotta get out of here. It's been a blast. Look, don't forget to visit our Facebook page. That's Tell Me Something Good with a capital T. And look for the post, We Need to Talk. Leave your comments and let us know where around the world you heard the show. I'll comment also. And as always, it's a party. If you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good.
Next up is the Front Stairs Talks podcast, hosted by Chris Morin. The podcast represents growing up in Dorchester, Massachusetts, where he used to sit on the front stairs of his triple-decker and talked about everything.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting, man.
This is the Front Stairs Talks podcast.
Front Stairs Talks podcast along special. Hello everyone, how are you? I can't believe I was picked. Thank you so much to the National Podcast Association for picking me. My name is Chris Morin, and I have a podcast called Front Stairs Talks. If you guys do not know about the NPA, or if you guys have a podcast or are thinking about doing a podcast, get your ideas on paper, start recording, and get onto the NPA. You get it, become a member. It is truly amazing. I'm still the first year doing podcasting. They've been nothing but tremendous to me. They gave me opportunities and opened up a lot of doors with other podcasters that are more advanced than I am, and we got to collab. So truly, they are amazing. Definitely worth every part of being a member. So please do that. Do yourself a favor. So, first things first, I kind of wanted to, basically today I wanted to say thank you guys for taking this podcast out. I know you have a lot of stuff to do with your time, so I really do appreciate it. And I wanted to give you a background history of myself, and how I came up with the podcast idea, and basically a little intro of the podcast, and then a subject I always wanted to talk about, but I'm going to talk about solo with you right now, later on, and it's about the person to have your back as a partner or a spouse to push you out of your comfort zone and to try to make you better. So, hello, my name is Chris Morin. I am from Dorchester, Massachusetts. If you guys don't know anything about Boston or Massachusetts, Dorchester is the biggest town in Boston. Boston is kind of like New York. It's broken off in different parts of it. You go to some places, you don't go to the other ones. When I was growing up in the early 90s and stuff like that, it was a different type of place than it is now. You know, money came in and everything, kind of changed, but it was a very working class, hardworking class, different levels of poor situation. If you guys don't know anything about that part of it, we also have some famous people. People that, just off the top of my head, Marky Mark, New Kids on the Block, New Edition, Belle de DeVoe, now you know. So, yes, we are. That's what we did. We would have those. We have those mixture of people, but it was everyone from Dorchester wears their heart on their sleeves, and we all have each other's backs for them. So like back then and etc. It was a very different place. Basically, if you ever watch every Boston movie, that's kind of like how it was. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Again, not like that anymore. Money. So, when we were growing up in Dorchester, the rules were we played all the time, and after we got done playing hockey, like street hockey, wiffle ball, kickball, stickball, we would have to, come in if the lights were on, and our moms used to yell and be like, come home for dinner or whatever. So you were able to go back out at nighttime if you sat on the stairs of somebody's triple deckers. Now, we had triple deckers, which are 3 apartments with 3 different families in one building. If you don't know what a triple decker is. So we did that. We would sit on our stairs and we would talk about everything under the sun. And especially when you're growing up, you find out so much stuff about people by doing that. Like, my people had issues, especially growing up older, when the older stuff happened, and you just found out people's problems. And you found out, your life wasn't that hard, but you understand why this person's acting that way, and etc. So I love that concept, and that's the way that I learn. I love talking to people. I love the down and dirty. I love the back and forth. I love that. So I decided 5 years ago, when there was the whole craziness with this with the election and everyone screaming and yelling at each other, I was like, you know what, I want to do this as a radio show. I want to have people come in, play a couple songs, because I worked at a radio station back then, and I have and the radio never picked it up. So after 2020 was such a crazy year, I was like, I'm taking this concept, I'm going to make a podcast. I'm going to start it in 2021, and we're going to have a bi-weekly podcast. We're going to sit down with everybody under the sun. Each topic, each episode special to that person. Every episode special, and it's truly, we have everybody from the music business to basically everybody. I take on any subject. It's either dark humor, pretty deep, or just, funny talk, or just people just talking regular. It's kind of like, I've gotten feedback that it's like you're on a fly on a wall, and it's kind of relaxing, no one yells, no one screams. It's just it's a lot of, dry sense of humor. So, so I decided to do that, and ever since then we've been cranking them out and having some great episodes, and it's been truly fun. Very fun to put them together. Pretty special, learning still stuff over and over, and it's pretty but it's still fun. Taking off to places I never thought it would take off to, which is truly amazing also. So, usually I have somebody, like I say, on with me, and I talk to them, and we have a conversation about a subject. So today I'm just going to do this solo, and I'm going to talk about something that is, I feel, overlooked in society right now, which is basically having a partner, a spouse, as your person to push you out of your comfort zones for growth. Meaning, like, you want to lose 100 pounds, or you want to lose, like, you want to run a marathon, you want to walk a marathon, you want to do a triathlon, you want to get promoted, you want to be the number one podcast in the world, you want to be the number one musician in the world. You need somebody at home. You really do. You need somebody at home not crapping on your dreams, but saying, you know what, you got this, you got this. And it's being supportive, and not just saying they're supportive, but the actions, like letting you have time to record, letting you have time to exercise, practice, let you have time to do all these things that you need to do for yourself. So, I base this off of one thing and one thing only. It is my life with my wife. My wife and I are very, very different. My wife is from Vermont. As I told you guys, I'm from Dorchester, Mass. She is country mouse. I am city mouse. That's our joke. She can watch a YouTube video and learn it right off the bat. First time trying it, perfected it. It's amazing. Myself, I can't do that. I learn by failing. That's what I do. It's kind of like, I'm good, and then I kind of fail, and then I learn what not to do. That's basically how I learn, or listening to people. But she is like one of those people that can just pick up anything and just go with it, and I'm not that person. My wife, both her and I professionally started off at the bottom of our companies and our fields, and we both raised we kind of made this like inner battle of becoming the breadwinner. And basically you need somebody when you're about to make a leap to say to another hiring job, because you know what they say, more money, more problems. You need someone to say, it's okay if you fail, I got you. We can do this. If you want to do this, we can do this. We have some savings, or let's save up a couple weeks, or we'll go without for a few, but we got this. You can do this. You need somebody like that. That's your foundation for all your dreams and all your success and everything else like that. Don't ever say to somebody that you're lucky, that they're lucky that they have success right now. The reason why they have success is either that they're single and they're doing it on their own and they're avoiding all the noise, or they have somebody at home saying, you know what, we got this. And I feel like it's overlooked. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that part of it, like the marriage part. They just look at security, looks, and whatever. So between personal and business and professional, you need that person. You truly do. You definitely need that person to say to you, it's okay to fail. We can recover. Try to get it done. And truly, that's how my wife and I are. My wife is she's extremely successful in her field, in the medical business. And every time, like, she did the same presentation across the country probably like 15 times. Each time she presents, I go with her. And I tell her, I hype her up. I'm kind of like Flava Flav, kind of. I'm like, you gotta do this. You got this. You got this. You got this. If she had a bad day at work, she texted me on the way home. Didn't go that day. I didn't go right today. Or she had a huge presentation for the VPs or stuff, or her board members or something like that. And she totally missed the mark on something. she takes it personally. She beats herself up, as I do professional too, and everything personally. Like if I do something wrong, I beat myself up. And what I do for her is I'll order her favorite dinner, and I'll make her favorite drinks. And when she gets right to the car, when she gets out of the car into the driveway, into the door, she opens up that door, and all of a sudden, here we go. There's my wife. Here I am. Like I told you, I got you. So everyone needs that. You need a safe space to grow. You need water, sunlight, which water and sunlight is positivity and security. So, and I know I'm probably off base talking to you about this or whatever, but I'm just basing this off of my relationship with my wife and what I look for. I had a very toxic relationship before my wife, who used to just I was in a band. We were somewhat successful, pretty young. I had a record label look at me when I was 18 years old. Basically, I had a record deal in hand. This girl basically tried to take me for everything. Wasn't supportive, and then I met my wife, and then my wife and I got married when we were 22, and we've just been pushing each other ever since. And now I'm 35 and she's 34, and we have a baby now. We own a house. We have, we're successful in so many ways, and it all started from the ground up and having each other's back. So I feel like people really do need that. You need that in life. So please remember that when you're choosing a person that you need, a partner. You need that thing. So I want to thank all you guys for listening to this. If you guys enjoy it, you can check us out on www.frontstairstalkspodcast.com. If you want to come on to the show, you can email us at frontstairstalksinfo@gmail.com. Find us on all the socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, on everything. We love you guys. We love the MPA. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Now we have Thoughts of an Average Joe podcast, where thoughts of the average guy will come to life, which pertains to dating, relationships, friendships, spectrum on topics within the Black community.
This is Thoughts of an Average Joe. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Life of an Average Joe podcast. And guess what? We are kicking it old school today. Yep, that's correct. No green screen, no fancy graphics, no technology. Well, a little technology. But you know what? We're taking it back. No studio, no off-site recording area, nothing. Just me, the camera, my headphones, and that's it. So I wanted to take it back to kind of when I got started with this, with my first podcast, which believe it or not, was not the Life of an Average Joe, but when it was just me and just talking and just sitting here in my my cave, my dwelling, my home, and just really just kind of talking about life. So that's where the idea of the Life of an Average Joe came from, actually, was just doing life stuff, was doing my life. I'm 42 years old. I've experienced a lot of things like a lot of people have. Moved around, worked at a lot of different interesting places, have had some amazing stories that I felt needed to be told. And it started off as book ideas. Matter of fact, I'm finishing a book right now called The Life of an Average Joe, My Life Behind Bars. Not prison, guys, okay? This isn't like Brandon Goes to Oz, okay? This isn't like me and, the gangs that I was involved in, which I wasn't. I'm talking about life behind bars, pouring drinks. I've been in the service industry for over 20 years, 20 plus, and God, it's getting really scary because it might be almost 24 years. Anyway, and I've experienced a lot of things, so that's where the book came from. And then I started to think about a podcast and think about doing other ideas. And here I am. And right now I've set the timer because typically my podcasts are not 15 minutes. But I'm gonna do a short podcast today, just talking about a little story. Forgive this, man. Let's get distracted here. Let's go for a squirrel moment, okay? I went for a run. Yeah, okay. Had my son with me. I always, he's always with me, but he's going to his mom's house now, and for the day or for a couple days, I went for a run. Why I chose to go for a run at 12 o'clock in Texas, I don't know. But I took a quick shower, and this is what you get. Again, the life of an average Joe. So if I'm sweaty, if I don't have a hair and makeup girl or guy, if I'm not wearing my fancy wardrobe, I don't really care. This is what you get. But because I was running in Texas and because I just got back from Michigan, I had some stories in my head, and I wanted to take a minute and tell you one of these stories that I don't know why it stuck with me. I went to Michigan. We just got back, actually. We were there for 14 days or so, and we just got back, so I'm adjusting. I mean, it's a difference of an hour. They're an hour behind us, but I'm just adjusting back to reality, No more vacation life. No more, lounging around, going to the beach. It's time to get back to work. So, but I was thinking about that because it was the 4th of July weekend. And in Michigan, everybody goes up north. I mean, everybody. First off, you can't sneeze without jumping into a lake. I mean, there's so many lakes in Michigan besides the Great Lakes. And I was thinking about everybody going up north. And I wish I would have had the opportunity to go there on this trip. Unfortunately, I didn't, and it's just the way it is. But we did get to go to the lake, so that's cool. And I was thinking about ice fishing. I know it's 95 degrees in Texas, and I'm thinking about ice fishing, but I don't know. What are you gonna do? I don't get cold. Okay, I don't get cold. If I get cold, it's cold, or I'm sick. And even though Texas had about like a week of winter, they don't get cold down here. Despite what you may heard, they don't get cold. They're going to freak out when it's 50 degrees outside and put on their Snuggies and eat their Whataburger, but they're not going to get cold. And I've been down in Texas for 11 years now. I've not adapted. I still can't stand the heat. I don't want to say I can't stand it, but I prefer the cold. Anyway, I digress. So in Michigan, it obviously gets cold. And one of the coolest things, no pun intended, that you can do is go ice fishing or go up north. I love to go up north in the winter. I really like to go up north all the time. There's something about it. And there's so many areas that you can go to, and it really depends on how far you can go to or how far you want to go. I mean, I remember, if I can take a sidestep in my story here, I remember when my buddy was in college, and he was a year behind us, maybe 2 years behind us, I don't remember. And he was going to Northern Michigan University. So just to kind of put this in perspective for you, here's Michigan. Okay, Northern Michigan is across the Mackinac Island Bridge, not that, the Mackinac Island Bridge in the UP. So Michigan's literally divided, the Upper Peninsula. It's a bridge that connects it. There you go. He's up here. I lived here, about right here. If you don't understand what I'm doing, look on a map. It was about 8 hours north. Okay, so Texas is big. But still, driving 8 hours and staying maybe 7, staying in the same state is nuts. And what made it worse was you had to cross the Mackinac Island Bridge. I'm not a big bridge guy. I'm not scared of them as like I used to be, but I'm not a fan of them. I think I love the way they look. I love old bridges. I just don't want to go on one. That's just the way it is. But Mackinac Island Bridge is scary because you're way up there. It moves very. It sways, not a lot, but it sways. It's got grates, open grates underneath, so when your car's driving, it's going vroom, 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 vroom. And you know that you're going over these grates that you could see down in the bottom. And I forget how many miles it is. And then you get to the UP. But what sucks about it is cars have literally been blown off that bridge into into the lake. Might as well be an ocean because it's one of the Great Lakes. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Google it. Cars have blown off the bridge. So it gets so bad they'll have wind advisories on there, wind warnings. Sometimes they have to close the bridge. Dude, if you close the bridge and you're on the other side trying to get back, you're screwed. But the other thing too is the wind advisories. So you can get up there, pull up, they got a little like speed limit thing. It'll say like 30 miles an hour because of the wind. Because they don't want you to speed, and they don't want you to go the speed limit because the wind could get you to go airborne. Your car could literally fly off the bridge. So driving slow is supposed to help, or they have a police escort to make sure that you're going slow. Like the cop is going to be able to save me if I'm going off the bridge. Hey, excuse me, officer, I feel like my car is kind of rising. Or could you? No, that's okay. I'll just go die. It's fine. I'm dead. No big deal. But I don't like going up there. But we used to go to a lot of places up north with our friends, our girlfriends, boyfriends, just everybody. And we went on a guy's trip to Manistee, and we were on Lake Manistee. My buddy had a cabin out there. It's a pretty nice cabin, nothing spectacular. But, it had some amenities to it, so we didn't have to, like, cook everything by the fire. And we went in the wintertime, and this was an impromptu trip. Like, we knew we were going to go up north, but we had no real intentions of doing much other than bonfires and drinking, maybe walking to the local bar, just really hanging out. On one night, we were drinking a lot. I mean, a lot. And it probably wasn't good stuff either. Maybe Labatt, because that's what you drink in Michigan. But it probably wasn't great. Maybe some maybe Leinenkugel. I don't know, Yingling for sure. But cheap stuff. I didn't have the palate that I do now. I'm not as refined back then as I was now, or as I am now, I should say. But we were drinking a lot, and I got the idea, and I know it was my idea, so I should take credit or fault for this, because it was my idea, to go ice fishing on the lake. Not a problem. The lake's right there. It's definitely cold and frozen. We're not going to fall through. There's always a potential on the dangerous ice. That's why if you see ice frozen in Texas and I see people walking on it, you're an idiot. I promise you. But I digress again. So we went on there. Now, we didn't have a shack. There were shacks out there, but we didn't have the shack set up because it's literally, you can set up a shack. You can go sit on like benches. It depends how fancy your shack is. And you cut a hole in the ice. If you've never been ice fishing before, Google it. If you're not familiar with it, watch the video on YouTube. But you can cut a hole in the ice deep because those fish are down in there. They're not just like packing their bags and going to Mexico for the winter. They are living down there below the ice, okay? And they're hungry. Not a lot of food down there this time of year. Everything's hibernating, dead, or whatever. You throw your pole in, you go back in the shack, turn on the radio, drink some beers, drink some whiskey, eat. They have little heaters. The heaters do not melt the ice. And you hang out and shoot the breeze. Smoke some cigars if you want, whatever. You can also sleep out there. As crazy as that sounds. You can sleep on the ice. We thought that we'd just take a tent out there. Now, I need to pause right there and say that you can take a tent on the ice. There are special tents that you have to go on the ice that you can set up. They're built for that. This was not built for that. This was built for just like popping up outside and sitting in the grass and maybe sleeping in it. This was not one of those tents. So me, Matt, and my buddy Toby, and there might have been one other guy, I don't remember. Or I think 3 of us went and 1 stayed back. It could have been Brian, I'm not sure. Went out on the ice. We had all the equipment, poles and everything. We're used to the weather. Bring some beers, we're chilling, cutting it. We start to feel the wind pick up. Again, it's Michigan, you're on a frozen lake, you're up north in the middle of wintertime. So wind picking up at night, not a big deal. Snow coming, not a big deal. We didn't bother to check the weather, which is rule number 1. You should always check the weather for multiple reasons. We didn't do that because we're not smart. And we went out on the ice in our tent. The tent's moving. We feel, no big deal. My buddy's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should just call it. And I'm like, dude, we're not leaving until we catch something. We know there's fish under here. I want to at least catch something. I'm probably just going to throw it back. Maybe we'll eat it. I'm not a big fish guy, or I just want to take a picture and go inside and finish our night. Well, then the wind's really picking up, and we can see like our tent's doing one of these on the inside. So we go back out and start pulling our poles in, pulling our lines in. We can't even find the hole. It's covered. We can't find it. We go back in the tent and we're like, dude, I think we just lost some fishing poles, and I have no idea. Maybe we should call it. We finished our beer, and the radio that we had kept on getting knocked over, like getting pushed. And my buddy's like, dude, why are you moving all this stuff? And I'm like, I'm not moving it. It's the wind. And he's like, no, you're literally moving it. Like it was standing up and now it's over here. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Like, do you feel that? And we could feel like the wind under us. Not a good sign. So we get out and we look. Our tent is sideways and we are nowhere near where our spot was. The snow's coming down and the snow is getting blown from the shore in, so we can't tell if it's snowing or if it's a drift. The wind literally moved our tent with our fat butts in it down the lake. We're like 25, 30 feet tops away from our spot in the middle of a lake, in the middle of wintertime, in a storm, at least a windstorm. Because again, I couldn't tell if the snow was coming out. So we pack up our stuff. As we're packing up our stuff and wrapping the tent off, we're seeing things go flying. Gone. Dude, pole, gone. Gone. I'm like, dude, forget it. I don't even care. So sorry if we littered or sorry if somebody woke up the next day with that crap in their yard, but we were out of there. So instead of walking across the lake, because again, we don't know what position we're in, we kind of see the land. So we walked over to the land. We get into the snowbanks, we see some lights, and we just start walking towards the lights with whatever equipment we have. The wind is beating down on our face so much that when we got outside, and I have to tell you, it was probably 20, 25 minutes, maybe more, of just walking in snow drifts. You know, I felt like I was in the Antarctic. I felt like I was that movie with Liam Neeson where he's getting hunted by the wolves. You know, I can't see. I'm losing people behind me. You know, no man left behind. And we walked over and we got into the cabin and ice is melting off our face and our beard. My nose was frozen to the point that I felt like I could just take it off, put it by the fire, and put it back when I was done. So there you go. There's my ice fishing story, guys. But if you want to hear more stories of the life of an average Joe, like Super Bowl parties with Tommy Lee, the time I met The Rock, maybe DJing in Miami and getting left in the purple section. Yep, that's real. Check out the Life of an Average Joe podcast anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast, including Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And thank you to the NPA for everything they do for us podcasters out there. And I promise I only get better. I might get worse too, but I only get better. So thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.
Today's Autistic Moment is a podcast for autistic adults produced and hosted by an autistic adult. Each episode will cover one topic that affects autistic adults.
This is today's Autistic Moment podcast.
So I want to begin with what important information do autistic adults and our caregivers need to know about when it comes to our diverse gender identities? And please feel free to share some of your thoughts as to what your journey has been in this time for you, because you were just diagnosed as an autistic, right?
Right. Yeah, I was. The evaluation was May 20th, so the official diagnosis came May 26th. And that's such a great question. What are some of the things that adult autistics or our caregivers should know about diverse gender identities? Because I haven't had much time to think about that question. I mean, I saw it when you sent it, right? But typically I've thought about questions like this my whole life. And this whole autistic thing is very new to me, even though it makes perfect sense.
Right.
So, but what I will say is really, when I think about my journey particularly, it's fascinating. I we often have the narrative of, or hear the story that trans people often don't feel at home in their bodies. And for me, that was never the case. I always felt odd or different or strange, and I can never put my finger onto it. At one point I was like, oh, maybe it's because I have a different upbringing. I was being raised by my dad and my mom wasn't there. That wasn't the case for most kids in my community. Or, you know, I thought it was because I was a lesbian. And And then I found out I wasn't a lesbian and that I was trans. And then I was like, no, then I thought it was because I was gay. I think it's not because I'm autistic. But thinking through the ability to be home in your own body, and to be home in your own mind is very difficult in a society that tells you that your mind is broken, and a society that tells you that your body is broken. Is really difficult. And so the biggest thing that I would say, one, to caregivers is love, and total acceptance. And total acceptance really isn't dependent upon any behaviors of anyone. It means total acceptance, and allowing people to be themselves. I have young people in my life that's been in my life for a while who, when they were little, identified as trans and wasn't sure. And I was like, yo, be you. I'm going to respect and support you no matter what. And when they got older and said, actually, I think that's not who I am, I was like, cool, be you. And so part of that, I say that to say, is that part of it is also allowing folks to figure out and to be in who they're, like, to be themselves and to be who they are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. So you've recently learned that you are autistic, but I get the feeling that you probably had wondered about that for quite a long time too. And would you share with what that has been like for you, and if you're able to talk any about how that has been, how you've been working with that, in light of your gender diversity?
Yeah. So I will say that I didn't think that I was possibly autistic for a long time. It's fascinating. A friend of mine, I'm actually pointing this out, and I think is actually a part of my autism, that as soon as I figure something out, I like go head in, especially around my identity, to figure out as much as I can to confirm or affirm. So I was diagnosed in 2011, 2012 with a nonverbal learning disability. And so I used to, especially because I didn't know, it's a shame, I was a mental health case manager at the time, but I didn't know much about the autism spectrum. And so I foolishly thought of it as a spectrum, the way we think of gender as a spectrum, as in from one end to the next, as opposed to something else. So I used to joke because I felt off. And so I was like, I bump right up against the spectrum, but I'm not autistic. It's just not possible. And so for me, it was, I just never thought about it. A friend of mine, when I came out on Facebook as autistic, said, "Oh, I thought you knew that," and I just thought it was something that you just didn't tell people, which was fascinating, because I'm like, I'm an open book. That's something that I don't know if I would hide, but also it was one of those things that I was like, I wish that you mentioned that, because I didn't know. I have a nephew who is autistic. I'll say that. And then I have little people in my life who aren't so little anymore, but who are getting older and older. But it just never crossed my mind. And I think part of the gender identity piece, though, for where it relates to it is, well, one, the parallel story, I would say that I knew nothing about trans anything up until I was maybe 20 something. I was out of, I went to I used to be an evangelical Christian. I went to a Southern Baptist undergrad, and I did ex-gay stuff. And so I was involved in reparative and ex-gay programming. And so I just didn't know anything about trans anything. But as soon as I found out about trans stuff, I was like, oh, this is who I am. This is exactly who I am. And I I started doing research, and eventually within months changed my name, because it was one of those things where once I figure out, it's definite. And so with being autistic and with even with gender, it was like one of those. Let me say this. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know that I would be trans if I wasn't autistic. I think I recently heard that term of autigender, which refers to how your autism impacts the way you understand your gender. And that really resonated with me. It's not the same as a gender identity, but it resonated a lot with me because for me, particularly around most of who I am, I don't know if that would be the case without being autistic. With becoming Jewish was a very long process. Judaism is not just a religion, it's much more complex than that, but it's also a year of studying. And I was involved in the synagogue and hadn't thought that I was even, just hadn't processed my mind. And then as soon as it crossed my mind about becoming Jewish, I dug straight into that, and it became a special interest of mine. And so I'm mindful that the trans person that I am, the queer person that I am, the Jewish person, so much of who I am is mixed up in being autistic, because of the way I really dig deep into it and researched. I mean, I do gender diversity and gender inclusion trainings because of the passion of people being able to be accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great answers. And if I may interject a little bit with my own personal stories here, I too have spent some time as a conservative Christian, a conservative Catholic even, and I involved myself in a Catholic ex-gay group at one point in time. So I totally identify with that, with what that journey can be like.
I will name, I'm in this, we don't have to process this now, but I've processed it and often wondered how many autistics have went through on their own decision to go through reparative or ex-gay programming.
Yeah.
I've constantly thought about that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that has been discussed by some is that the entire coming out process, whether it's about sexual orientation or gender identity, is very similar to what coming out as autistic can be like. They're actually quite similar for many, because there's this beginning, this point in which we understand ourselves, and then there's that part of which we want to begin to change ourselves, and there's that other piece that starts struggling with how difficult that change is and has to work on discerning how quickly or slowly we make that change because of how we do or do not work well with our routine change. And as long as we're here, let's take this into my second question, which is always, what are the barriers for autistic adults in all ages? And we're talking about some barriers about coming out. I have heard it said, and perhaps you can reflect on this and maybe share some of your thoughts about this, but I know of one individual who made the transition from male to female, and she talks about how she always thought of herself as to be the perfect, perfect husband and father, and to make that transition to becoming a woman has been, that transition to changing her gender to a woman has meant a change in that shift of thinking. And that has been a great deal of his difficulty with his transitioning. Maybe talk a little bit about what if those barriers have been part of you, or what you understand about barriers like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, those haven't been barriers for me. When it comes to trying to figure out,
take Take your time.
Yeah, no, I will. Thank you. For me, when it comes to coming out, and barriers of coming out, I never want so I'll say this. I never wanted to be a mom. Never
Right.
Just never crossed my mind. Yeah. And so I also always wanted to be a parent.
Oh.
And for me, I spend most of my life trying to figure out who I am.
Right.
Trying to and maybe this is this piece of maybe I figured out this piece. But oftentimes what happens is when I figure out what that is, I get overly excited.
Right.
And go into it. Now, is that always smart? I don't know. Is that always safe? No. I've been in situations that I'm very much aware of, that the way my brain is wired around, even around like that there's, so for example, there's grief. When I had a top surgery, so when I had a double mastectomy, I had grief over losing my chest, and I hated it. I hated being a triple D. That was a very painful thing, and I was small, and I still had grief, and it's been 13 years, and every once in a while I'm like, I don't regret any of it, and I don't even, it's like you get grief over breaking up with an abusive partner. It is a part of who we are and how we're wired. And so I will name that with that, there was grief maybe around what could or what couldn't be. But really, as far as, I will name as far as barriers, at least for me, and this is really more recently barriers even, I also have ADHD, so I'm going to name that. But I have a really hard time with remembering to take my shots for testosterone. And I've been on testosterone for 13 years. And so there was years where I just didn't take my shots because I couldn't remember to take them. And now I'm on a different type of shot that is only once every 10 weeks. And even that was a barrier because up until today, well, one other time, every time I get my shot is very painful and I'm in pain for days. And figured I was supposed to be able to stand up, but I don't have the capacity to advocate for myself at the doctors. It's extremely difficult. But because of my diagnosis and after talking, well, she adjusted it before that, but when I told her I thought I was autistic, she added in my notes the things that needed to be done, which was really important for doctors to be able to adjust and to make sure that they're able to advocate for you with their nurses when they're not present, is huge. And just really finding access to community can be difficult, can be challenging, and I wonder if perhaps even challenging for trans autistics to even, especially those of us who found out later in life that we were autistic. And for me, particularly those folks who maybe were in a very more conservative area or background, being connected with not seeing trans people, and at that time there wasn't really trans people. There wasn't trans people on TV in the 90s and early 2000s, really. And so for me, there was no way for me to know that what's out there. I didn't have friends. I didn't think about that. I didn't realize that was, that people have friends, but I just, so yeah, I don't want to ramble about that, but for me, there's always been a, who am I? How do I figure that out? And so in that process, it's always been just going really hard at figuring out what that is. And it has its repercussions, because of me saying I'm unapologetically me.
Right.
It also, and sometimes it causes harm to people, not intentionally. I have a twin, and she loves me to death now. But me being trans was one of the hardest things for her originally.
Yeah.
And now it's, you know, it's not a problem.
Next up is the SHIT. It's the Shit That Happens to Me podcast, hosted by my friend Stacy and I. It's a podcast about the shit that happens to you.
I love Stacy. She's
the
incredible.
Best. This is the Shit That Happens to Me podcast.
Everyone, I'm so excited to be here today for another episode of the Shit That Happens to Me podcast.
Yo.
I have a very special guest with me today, Andy Riggs. Hi Andy.
Hi, good to be back. Am I a returning guest?
You are.
That's
Back.
nice.
I say back by popular demand.
Oh, really?
The big demand is me. And but yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Everybody's here for Stacy and I.
Right. But you had a very popular episode.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk to you because it's kind of like you have this little secret going on. Like I saw this post. Ooh, don't touch the microphone. I saw this post.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Yep, Riggs Radio. That's where it is.
Yes. And you had you broke a bone.
Two bones. First two bones I've broken in 38 years of my life on this earth.
And you are 38.
I am.
It's the first broken bones
Ever.
I have not broken a bone. I'm knocking wood.
Yeah. Don't do it. I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
Now I know why. I'm kind of upset that the streak ended.
Yeah.
Not fun.
I've sprained my ankle a dozen times.
Oh, sure.
And that's super painful, but I can't even imagine.
I broke
breaking
my radius. You have two arms in your two arms in your bone, two bones in your arm, right? In your forearm. You have your radius and your ulna.
Yes.
The ulna is on the pinky side. The radius is on your thumb side. I broke my radius on my thumb side, but just one break on the radius. Thank goodness it wasn't what's called a distal radius break, which is where like your wrist breaks up by the wrist, which happens a lot when you fall because natural human instinct is to stop the fall.
Right.
So you reach back with your hand and stop it. And, you hit the impact and your bones go snap and you go to the hospital.
Yeah. But you broke two bones. So
I did.
one was a bone in your arm.
And the
or
other
your
one
wrist.
was my coccyx.
Yes.
Your coccyx is your tailbone. That's like the lowest bone on your spine. That goes like right up. Like if you touch the top of your butt crack and then go down like half an inch with your finger, that's what. Damn it. Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah,
You said butt crack on my show.
It's called the shit that happens to me.
And we're drinking booze, but
Don't yell at me for butt
butt
crack.
crack is a first. But anyway.
Could have said ass crack. I could have.
That might have been worse.
It would have been worse, yes.
All right. So sorry I interrupted.
No, you're okay.
But you broke the
fractured.
coccyx.
I fractured my coccyx on the fall.
Yeah.
And I also broke my radius. So I had surgery on the radius and they put a big metal bar in there. And I can kind of take this off. I have like a soft cast on now. And they put this big metal brace in there with some like 6 screws. So I got screws.
Wow.
And Dr. Coppage at Wisconsin Orthopedic took care of me.
Yeah.
And he's the first man that's ever been inside me and fixed me. So that's what I said.
So we're on video. You can show
we are.
everybody.
So here's my broken arm. And I got
broken
you want to see
arm.
the scar? You want to see it?
Sure. I'm not
I
afraid
had
of
surgery.
scars.
Check that out, man. Check that out. Well, it's fresh.
Huge.
Yeah, it's fresh. So they had to, cut me open. It was also my first surgery. First broken bones, first emergency room visit, first surgery.
Oh, I'm so
It's
sorry.
a year of firsts. Yeah, it's all right.
And are there stitches there you'll have to get taken out?
No, they're dissolvable stitches. So they're inside my skin. They'll just dissolve and I'll have a badass scar with a story. And I'm going to get my first tattoo, I've decided.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a tattoo over the scar that says 6/17/21, never forget.
Oh.
Make better life decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the coccyx bone. So
Yeah.
you have a literal pain in your ass.
It's literal, dude. It's the
Yeah.
worst. It's the
Yeah.
worst. It's way worse than the arm. Like my arm is fine. I can move my wrist and my fingers, no pain at all. But sitting down and standing up and sleeping, it's the worst because you can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Every time you start to get comfortable, it stops and it starts to hurt. So you got to shift. So I'm waking up every 2 or 3 hours. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And everybody says it's like a 2-month recovery time, which
That's a long time.
I know. So
I joked with you. I don't know if you took it as a joke, but that I should have brought you a seat cushion.
I have one.
Yeah. Are you using it right now?
I'm not. These
No.
seats are actually surprisingly comfortable.
Okay.
In your Edge podcast studios
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah. Allison, she spares no expense on the nice chairs.
No, she doesn't.
Way to go, Allison, by the way. She's watching or listening.
So, did you have to have surgery on your butt crack?
No. You can't do anything for a coccyx. That's the problem with it because you can't cast it. You can't splint it. You can't really operate on it. So you just kind of let it run its course.
So no scar.
No
to
scar
show
on the
us.
butt. No.
And sorry. So it just fuses back together.
Yeah, it's just gonna have to heal on its own. So
Yeah.
I've taken it really easy. I had like some FMLA leave, which I didn't know what that was, federal medical leave. I was like, oh, cool. I'm eligible for time off work.
I
So
literally thought that meant family.
It might be. I don't know. I think it's Federal Medical Leave Act is what it's called, or something like that. Medical assistance, medical leave assistance. I don't know.
I'm sure you're right.
Basically, I took a 3-week leave of absence, so I wasn't in work for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to work on Monday. So the last actually 2 days are the first 2 days that I've left my house because I haven't been able to go anywhere other than to the doctor and from the doctor for the surgery appointments. So I've just been cooped up in my house. My mother-in-law is living with us. It's insane.
How's that going?
So getting out of the house was a blessing.
Yeah,
so you said, would you like to leave, meet in person? I said, yes,
Yes.
yes, let's meet in person.
So remind our listeners where you work, first of all.
I do. I work for 103.7 KISS FM here in Milwaukee. We're Eggs and Alley. It's the morning show for Odyssey.
Yeah.
So we're on every morning from 5 to 10. I've been there for the last 7 years. So that's where you might know me from. I also have a podcast, Rigs Off the Radio, which is another podcast where I have Mental Health Mondays. Haven't been able to drop a new episode there in a while because I've been on the injured reserve list.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That FMLA leave.
The FMLA leave, yeah.
So, all right. So that just has to like heal on its own, fuse back together. It's super painful because you don't realize how much you're like on your butt. So does it hurt then to just stand?
Sometimes it can hurt. Everything hurts really.
Yeah.
It's always like they always ask for the pain scale, like on a 1 to 10 scale.
Yeah.
I'm constantly at like a 5, maybe a 5.5.
Okay.
Just
Not
like
great.
No.
No.
But it's certainly not painful or unbearable.
That's
it's just,
like the face.
yeah, that's just the
Because the pain scale is accompanied by the faces.
it is. I love those faces. The grimmest face, the super happy face,
right.
and then the very sad face at the end for the 10.
Or the like,
He was definitely at a 10 after all the pain, after the adrenaline wore off from the break. So yeah.
Yes. So I said there was this like secret.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you announced publicly how you did this. Did you?
How I broke my coccyx and my arm?
Yes. You gave a multiple choice. Like you should pick which one it was.
Yeah, there's really 4 scenarios because anytime you fall and you break a bone, everybody immediately says, what did you do? How did you do it? What were you doing? What's the story? And every time there's a story, it's always like, oh, that's it? Like, you need a better story than that. Anytime I've ever talked to anybody that's broken a bone, 80% of the time I would say that's the way the conversation goes. What happened? Well, I was, on a soccer game with my kids and I climbed up on the top of the bench and then I fell off or something. So it's always something stupid. So
right.
Everybody wants to have a cool, badass story to how they broke bones because it makes it sound cool, right?
I mean, I did a whole episode on the stupid ways I've sprained my ankle. So yeah. So are you telling us it's not that exciting?
No.
It wasn't a skydive fall.
Well, what do you want to know? Do you want to know which story? Because I have 4 options. Let's pick one of the 4 options, and I will accompany it with a story, whichever one you choose.
I want to hear all of them.
Okay. Option number 1.
Yes.
I'm a skydiver.
Yes.
Was I had a skydiving accident on a landing.
Yeah.
Option number 2. I was on a ladder trying to get a kite off of a tree on a windy day at the skydiving drop zone.
Okay.
Option number 3. My mother-in-law is staying with us.
Yes.
She had a foot surgery.
Yeah.
So she's not the most mobile woman. I was helping her get into bed. And as I did that, I fell backwards while pushing her up. She fell back, pushed me back, and it broke my back. My little coccyx back there. Or we can go with option 4. I have a dog. His name is Samson. And when we were playing with his new I got this little launcher thing that shoots tennis balls. And as I'm reaching down to load it, he runs around behind me and I trip over him and fall back behind him. And that's how it happened.
These 4 options are pretty well thought out.
Yeah.
Because 3 of them aren't true, which means you've made them up.
1 truth and 3 lies.
Yes. So I'm going to guess. Can I guess?
You can guess, sure.
I think it was the Are you going to tell me?
No.
I guess no. Wait, you're not
I'm never going to tell anybody.
You're never going to tell.
Well, that's what I thought was cool about it, is I'm just going to let people, the people that really know will probably know, and that were there. And the
Yeah.
people that don't know are going to be able to spread a wonderfully beautiful rumor about me.
So that's so funny because on Facebook, you did this thing with the 4 options and
Yeah.
everyone is commenting, well, which is it?
Yeah.
And you don't see you answer any of them.
It's a very ambiguous injury. It is.
Yeah. Wow.
One of the worst ones. So what would you go with? Skydiving, ladder, mother-in-law, or dog?
I'm going with the ladder and the kite.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, yep, you can go with that one.
Windy day at the drop zone.
Yeah.
Too windy to skydive.
'Cause
So we still like to do aerial things skydiving, and they've got a kite that's shaped like a parachute. So we
Yeah.
can kind of practice flying it in the sky and learn how to fly our parachutes because it's got 2 toggles on the side, kind of like a parachute does.
Yeah.
So, playing around with that, gets stuck in a tree. Obviously, I'm thinking, sure, I can go up there.
get
I
that.
can take care of this. No problem. And my buddy Mikey was supposed to be holding the ladder, and Mikey wasn't holding the ladder.
What?
Thanks, Mikey.
What kind of friend is that?
He's a really good friend, actually. He just made a dumb mistake, and I made the mistake of climbing up there. So,
Okay. So I really think this is the one because you keep saying better life decisions.
Yeah.
Like maybe not to climb a ladder. Like you couldn't, of course, you would help your mother-in-law into bed and you didn't know that the dog was going to come up behind you.
No.
Neither of those involved life decisions. And I know that you think, and I know that skydiving is safe.
it is as safe as it
right,
can be.
right.
And I've
Yeah,
got 657 skydives now.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm an
I'm-
instructor. I
I'm-
take people with me. Luckily, sometimes I jump by myself and sometimes I jump with other people. But,
Yeah.
luckily I haven't had any horrifying skydiving,
Right. Right.
horrible accidents. I've had some close calls here and there. I think I talked about the last one on
You
your
did, you
podcast
did.
with the, when I was getting my tandem rating.
Right.
That was terrifying.
Yeah. So I know you're not going to stop doing that. So better
No.
life decisions, does that mean you're going to stop climbing ladders?
I'd
Or
make
stop
better
trusting
decisions. Better
Mikey?
decisions. I mean, I think honestly, if it's a skydiving injury, I would still skydive too. I mean, I wouldn't let something like that stop me from doing that.
Right.
Because it's such a passion of mine, honestly, that I don't think I could stop doing it unless it was like a horrifying situation.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's something I love to do. It's my self-care. I'm a big mental health advocate.
Right.
And that really centers me, skydiving.
Mhm.
Because it's the only time I've ever had in life where you are literally living in the moment. You can't think about anything else.
Right.
Nothing
Right.
else.
It's
Just
a mindfulness activity.
don't die. Go fast, don't die.
You can't control like going fast. You're going to go fast.
Yeah. Well, you can go faster or slower. There are things you can do. So
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
And it sucks. I wouldn't recommend breaking bones to anybody, but I had the best care. Being in an emergency room was quite an experience, like having all the x-rays, and I almost passed out. I have a thing called vasovagal. You heard of that before? The vasovagal response?
Yes.
I get
Makes
that
you feel like you want to pass out.
Oh yeah, because your blood pressure drops. It's like a stress response that your body gives.
Yeah.
And I almost passed out when they were giving me the IV for the
Yeah.
for the drugs.
Yeah. Well, it's a nerve
Yeah,
response.
it is.
I get that when they take blood.
I don't get it when I take blood.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, when I give blood. I donate
Right.
blood every 8 weeks as often as I can.
Oh.
And I'm trying to get to a gallon. I'll get there soon. But anytime I get that, I'm always
You're fine.
Always fine. But for some reason, putting it on top of my hand for that IV, I was like, is this normal? No, that's a vasovagal. Just lay back. Put this ice on your head. You'll be fine. It sucks. So I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. Don't do it.
No.
Stay no breaks.
Yeah.
But I
Stay
do-
off ladders.
Stay off ladders.
Stay out from under ladders.
Yes. Don't pick up mother-in-laws. Don't walk in front of dogs.
So let's hear about your mother-in-law.
Oh,
Can
boy.
we hear about that a little bit? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely, I can.
Okay.
My mother-in-law is 82. It's my wife's mom. And she had a foot surgery
Mm-hmm.
in March.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Is she from here?
She's not. She lives in Florida, in
Okay.
Venice, Florida. And now she went in March to have the surgery done, March 11th. I remember the day very vividly because we brought her home. She was planning to recover with us here in Milwaukee and stay with us. She said probably 6 to 8 weeks of recovery time. Just need to lay down and take it easy. We didn't know that it was such a massive surgery. She literally had her foot reconstructed. They broke all the bones, all the knuckles and everything and reconstructed her foot.
Why?
she had this crazy bunion, dude, like
Oh,
Bigfoot feet.
Yeah.
Like I've seen her feet before. They were horrifying. Like she had this bunion growing out the side that didn't look, it looked like a tumor. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And she's a dancer. Like she loves to dance. She's danced her entire life. So she's just been dancing on this bad foot for 30 years and it's just gotten progressively worse.
Yeah.
And she was going to have it the year before in 2020, but COVID shut down all sort of non-essential surgeries. So she wasn't able to do it in 2020. We scheduled it to 2021. We pick her up and we realize she can't even walk. She can't put any weight on it at all. So I had to literally carry her from the car, like through the threshold, like bride style, like into the house, onto the bed. 'Cause she can't walk. She couldn't walk. And I told my wife, I go, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to. I mean, I love my wife and I love
Yeah.
her mom like
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
my wife. And I would definitely care for her if I had to. But we're not qualified for this.
Right.
And what happens when she needs to be bathed?
Yeah.
What happens when she needs to be, wiped down there when something happens? We're not qualified to do any of this. And plus, we don't have
butt crack?
You're right. We don't have a. Now you said it. And we don't have a handicap accessible house or anything like that. So I was like, this can't work. We can't do this. There has to be another way.
Yeah.
And we found there's a rehabilitation center in Chicago called Harmony, and they were able to get her into there. And this was like, they have nursing, they have occupational therapists, they have physical therapists to work her muscles and everything and keep her, ambulatory and people to bathe her. She has meals, they have activities. So it was great for her. So she got to stay there for like 3 months. I think we took her there on the 13th of March and we just got her back in early June. And today she got her last clearance from the doctor and she's good to go. So
Oh boy.
she's spending a little bit of extra time with us because there was another mishap. I could also tell you that my mother-in-law, when I got back from the emergency room from my fall, from my injury, when I got home that night, my mother-in-law had a low blood pressure incident and almost passed out. So we had to call 911 and take her to the emergency room. So my wife had 2 emergency room trips in one day.
Wife.
My wife's a saint, dude. A saint. And I'm not just saying that she is.
Yeah,
She was taking care of me. She's taking care of her mother. Both of us at the same time.
Yeah.
And I can't help her mom because I'm incapacitated at the time. I had a sling and a giant splint on. Like this looked way worse than it does now.
Yeah.
Like just looking at it now, it looks like I have like a Michael Jackson wrist thing on, right? Like it's just like a fashion statement.
Right.
But it looks bad. It was a big splint. There was like a sling and everything. So now I'm glad that I can move my arms around a little bit and get back out there and exercise my body because I hate being stagnant and just not doing anything. I'm an active guy. I like to exercise. So
I would be stagnant every day of my life if I could.
it's like a lump on a log.
If someone said to me, you could be super healthy and strong and have a good core and all that stuff and never stand up, I'd say, sign me up.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
unfortunately, life doesn't work that way.
I know it doesn't. So
there's that. So yeah, my mother-in-law's living with us at least for another couple weeks. So
okay, but she's all better now.
she is better now. She can at least walk around on her own and take care of herself and make her own meals. So it's
My
a lot
grandmother
better.
had bunions like that, like super crazy, and she was not a dancer. But I came from a family, they didn't do any elective surgery. So she was never going to have that surgery. And it's a terrible surgery.
Yeah, it's really brutal.
Yeah.
Like they break them, they reconstruct the whole foot.
Yeah.
They got to shave down bone. It's, I
Yeah.
can't even think about it.
Yeah.
So
Bad.
she'll be better. She's much better. It's a good place.
Well, does she need it on both feet?
No, thank
No,
God.
just
that
one.
Just that one.
Okay.
I don't want to have
Okay.
to do that either. So one surgery was enough for me on the
Right.
arm.
Yeah.
Now I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I had foot surgeries and was like,
You did?
I did. I had 2 foot surgeries.
Why'd you have a foot surgery? What happened?
Well, remember I said sprained my ankles
Yeah.
dozens of times. So I apologize if I've told these stories already. So bear with me,
Yeah,
everyone.
give me the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, right. Well, so I have really flat feet.
Mhm.
My dad had super flat feet. Like his ankles were like on the ground just about, and it got him out of serving in the army.
Mhm.
But so I sprained my ankles. I had ligament reconstruction like 20 years ago, but I had pain. I had a lot of pain, a lot of arthritis. And so I went to the doctor thinking that I could just, have like laser or something to remove bone fragments. And he's like, oh no, you need to correct this problem.
Oh boy.
So I had what's called alignment surgery. I don't think I've told these stories. First doctor went and told me this, and the minute he said it, I was like, oh, he's right. I remember my dad's ankles. Went and had a second opinion. That guy's like, no, you don't need that. Just put these pieces of foam in your shoes. You'll be fine. And then I went and had a third opinion. And that doctor, he's not here anymore. Richard Marks, he was, great surgeon. He came into the room.
Richard Marks, right here waiting, was your surgeon, like the singer. Richard Marks. You know Richard Marks, the singer.
Sorry, we'll have to edit that part out because.
Oh man,
no.
You would know Richard Marks if you heard it.
Oh,
if I played a Richard Marks
Yeah,
song,
maybe.
you would know it.
And maybe
Go
you'll
ahead.
do that on Monday when you go back to work.
Maybe I will. It's way out of format. It's from like the 80s, but go ahead.
So anyway, he comes into the office and he goes, "Am I the tiebreaker?" And we go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You definitely need this surgery." So what they did, bear with, like trigger warning. I'm going to talk about like that. Well, we did that already, but
yeah, go ahead.
They cut the heel bone
Mhm.
and pushed it forward.
Okay.
And so it lifted up the arch.
Ah.
And I had that done on both my feet. And so to recreate, well, not even recreate, I probably never had arches, to create an arch in my foot to lift the whole thing up.
Holy
so that,
crap.
I mean, one day I might need new ankles,
Yeah.
but they had to do this first so that I didn't just create the same problem
Yeah.
again.
Isn't medicine amazing
It
how
is
they can do that?
amazing. Yeah.
Like I don't have to wear a cast like a child. Like you would think I would be in a big cast for like
Right.
8 weeks over the summer. I'd be like summer of
Yeah, that
suck.
everyone would sign.
Yeah, but no, like they did surgery. They put a plate in here, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's insane. I'm moving my arm. Like
Right.
I've seen people, and they go, "You broke your arm?
Yeah. You liar, they're saying.
You didn't break your arm. I did. Look at the stitches. You guys drew these on there. Yeah,
Stitches are nasty.
yeah. So you've got crappy feet, and I've got a crappy ass.
And I've I got a screw in each foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I got 6. Well, 7. Excuse me, 7. 7 lucky screws. 7
yeah.
screws.
In the arm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So they couldn't even screw anything in the coccyx.
Nope. No screws, no pins, no nothing in the coccyx.
It's pretty amazing that it just heals.
Yeah. The body's an amazing.
My son
amazing
broke his
thing.
wrist
Uh-huh.
and they just put him in I guess it's a cast that
Yeah.
counts. No, probably something like what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like a
and
little
it took a really
soft
long
cast.
time, but it healed.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The wrist, they said it, you're lucky you didn't break your whole wrist because that's a much longer recovery process.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping to be back to skydiving by end of August, middle of August on my own. I probably won't take any tandems this year because I don't want to put someone else's life at risk. Probably a good idea. Not till next year, but I can jump on my own by the end of August. So
Yeah.
get me back up in the sky.
But yeah.
Until now. So my time ran out. The good Lord said, "You know what? It's a broken bone.
It's time.
It's
right.
time for you to go to the emergency room." But it was a cool experience.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So that's the shit that happened to me.
the shit that happened
More
to
shit
you.
that happened to me.
God.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing me on the podcast-a-thon.
Yeah.
I think that's very cool that you're raising this money to put kids in wheelchairs for sporting events. That's so cool
Absolutely.
because
That's amazing.
these
Yeah.
kids, I've seen those kids before, and I'm so happy that they're able to like participate in things and have that sense of normalcy
sure.
because it's gotta feel so bad as a kid to see other kids running around and playing in sports, knowing that you can't do it. So
Right.
you guys raising money for this amazing cause is helping those kids be part of everything and be part of something and feel normal and be active as well.
Absolutely.
That's so nice.
It's
So
awesome.
Thank you for doing that. That's a
Yeah.
very cool cause.
Well, thanks for coming on, Andy.
course.
I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And, yeah. Well, we'll have to have you come back again.
Anytime.
I'm sure hopefully there'll be no more emergency room and
No.
things like that stories.
But I'm sure that plenty of shit will happen
Yeah.
to me that we can
Yeah.
discuss.
Yeah.
Next up is the What Are We Doing podcast, a podcast about, I don't know what we're doing.
I figured it out.
Bang, bang,
listen,
bang.
Megs, hit the clap one time. Figured it out.
Oh, Meg's getting, okay, we're getting quick on the buttons again, Megs.
Okay.
All right.
Now, speaking of Megs and her buttons, Megs has been upgraded. Megs is now equipped with 2 high-powered Nerf guns.
I'm just saying, if we're getting violent
Megs, get
Don't.
rid. You might have to put
Megs.
You might have to put there you go.
Meg?
No,
Yeah,
to
keep
your-
that pointed
to
at
your
him.
left, to your left. There
I'm
you
telling
go.
you, Megs is progressively getting more and more on my team here. We're
So,
yeah.
so if either of us pop off too hard or say something really stupid, because we know I say some stupid shit on this podcast, put it down, Megs.
Don't scare
point
the
that.
audience,
No,
like-
no. Point it the other way, dude. The other way.
No, put the safety on, Megs.
Megs.
Megs. Oh,
All right, dude. Calm the down.
I don't feel safe.
Jesus. Speaking of Megs wants to start a food truck.
We need to, it's got to have a niche. We got to have a niche.
The Stromboli.
The niche.
The Stromboli fam.
Got to have a niche. Drip, drip. Get out of my face. What do you want in a swag bowly?
Bro?
What's a swag bowly? You're going to fucking find out.
Bro, you won't Stromboli. The Stromboli. You won't believe.
Oh, no.
You guys know what time it is. You laugh, you lose, bro. Paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes. Yes. Okay, no, 2 out of 3. Come on, we're doing 2 out of 3.
Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Bang. What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory.
Stupid. How does a man on the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it. See, he can do this all day. He can do this. He's gonna, I mean.
Dear math, grow up and solve your own problems.
I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know. Got him. I got him.
That's so stupid.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Why did that? What did the 0 say to the 8? That belt looks good on you.
Yesterday, what was it? Wednesday? No, no, Tuesday. Megs comes up to me, says, "You are so immature." So I kicked her out of my fort. The tongue came out. The tongue. Zoom in on the tongue. The tongue came out. That's 90%, bro. You're 90%. I'll let you off. But that was 90. You come 90, I'll go the other 10. That's crazy.
Whoa, that one almost got me, dude. My eyes are watering a little bit.
Want to hear a joke about construction?
Damn it.
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. Do you want to hear a joke about construction?
I got it, but I was laughing at how insecure you looked first.
I'm still working on it. Did I sell it?
I genuinely thought you messed up, so yes, that was good.
Did I win the game?
No, no.
Megs?
You might have.
That's a good. I know this one.
How do you make 7 even?
Oh, I do know this one. Wait. Take the S out.
You mother.
Gang, gang, gang. That's a plus point for me. Take the S out.
Oh, is that how this works? If you know my joke, do you get a point?
I automatically get a point.
Oh, wow. What do you call it when a snowman throws a tantrum? A meltdown.
Oh, that's so good. It's not funny. I'm not going to laugh, but that's so good. I'm sorry. And I would get out of class just to go to the hallway, dap you up.
I couldn't sit down.
Get your MP3 player, do something.
Me not being able to sit down started in elementary school, but by the time it had evolved to the point when I got to high school, I had got my mom to write a note that said I had a bladder control problem. And that now teachers were not allowed to tell me I could not go to the bathroom.
Absolutely.
And by the way, now I didn't have to ask to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
I could get up and walk.
Do you remember, it's probably at your first job, but do you remember the first time where like you asked somebody to go to the bathroom out of school and they like dogged you for it? Like, do you know what I mean? Because we grew up for 12 years having to ask our superiors to go to the bathroom. I have a Titanic fact, a crazy fact, like, you know, your James Bond, Aston Martin fact. Did you know the movie Titanic? Have you seen it?
Bits and pieces a long time ago.
God, dude, the fact, okay, so let's just pause right here. The fact
We've
that
been
you
through
have never
this.
seen on this podcast or in person, we've been through
I
this.
said, I don't see anything. I don't watch any
Bro,
movie.
Do you understand that from the age...
This is why the fact that you picked the Wolf of Wall Street
Do you understand?
sex scene as a script read is like, Jesus Christ.
Do you understand from the age...
And that's called a callback. Thank you.
From the age of 4 to 9 years old, I watched the Titanic movie probably every other night with a bag of popcorn and a Pepsi, and I fell asleep to the Titanic movie every night.
I was busy watching Free Willy, a real movie. Get out of my face.
So close.
Get out of my face. There was room on that door.
Okay, we'll get to that.
We already did last episode and the episode before that.
I know.
We talk about Titanic and T-Pain all the time.
It's okay. We're going to get off it next week. So, okay. So the movie is the old lady Rose. She's telling the story to the younger people, and then she's younger in the story, right?
Yeah.
If you remove all of the present day scenes, so when she's old as telling the story, and only show the scenes of the movie on the boat with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet as young Kate Jack, you only show those clips. The movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. The exact time it took for the real life Titanic to sink.
Oh,
true fact.
Is it?
Yep. 100%.
We're gonna find out next
Not
week.
like your Daniel Craig bullshit.
Okay.
Listen, so
I was gonna say you already know what's up when I
Yep.
walk into a Subway.
it's meatballs all day. baby.
Meatball sub.
Yep.
Can you
Now-
tell me everything I get on a
Ooh,
meatball
okay,
sub though?
because Megs asked me the same thing when we got ours the other day. She's like, "What do we get on it? Like, what do we get?"
Provolone.
Provolone. Okay.
Put some provolone there on there,
All right.
and then some oregano.
Mm.
Add that little green on there.
Here's
what was your favorite job that you ever worked at?
Oh, my favorite job. I think, okay, so true story or true fact. I was fired from every job I worked at.
I've never been fired. I don't even know what that feels like. I feel like it'd be devastating to be fired. Oh my God. First off, we're gonna have to bleep out her name because and her
bleep.
still got problems. Don't let me see her on the streets, matter of fact.
Yeah, bleep.
I told her I was gonna in her trash can.
Yeah, okay. So I had her. we
Yo, kids, if your teacher ever tells you you can't go to the bathroom, just tell them you're gonna piss in a trash can and then see what's up. See how they act after that. Probably gonna send you to the office, but they gonna know that you ain't fucking around no more.
and you're
Let's
gonna
just say
go
that.
to the bathroom on your way to the office.
And then you're gonna walk around a couple extra hallways,
Yup.
and maybe stop and see your little
Anytime-
girlfriend on the way.
Anytime I was in the hallway, I saw Kodak in the hallway, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. Listen, all you need to know about it is you need to go to whatarewedoingpod.com/links. You're going to have everything you need to listen, subscribe, buy, purchase, download, watch, view. Everything's there. Hit the website, hit the Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think I haven't said anything to anybody about it yet, but I think we're going to do a giveaway on our YouTube channel for the podcast. We talked to our friends at Colgate toothpaste, and they're going to sponsor a giveaway for our YouTube channel. So look out for that coming soon.
Shout out.
Brought to you by our friends at Suave Shampoo. And so we're going to do that maybe next week. Be on the lookout for that. whatarewedoingpod.com/links.
And I don't know if you heard, I got a call from Irish Spring Soaps yesterday. They're talking about working with us. So more big things coming.
More big things coming. Amazon just bought another celebrities podcast for $80 million. So ours is about to get picked up here very soon.
We were like, fourth on the waiting list.
We're
so
almost there. So we're about to be picked up for
Bang.
millions of dollars very, very soon. And check it out. Thank you so much for watching episode 12. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Megs, hit the outro button and mute all of our microphones. Do it.
Finally, to end the show, last but not least, my name's Ian Bennett.
I'm Martin Moore. We are the hosts of the all-new Said No One Ever podcast, a podcast about things you never knew you wanted to hear about. You can find us on all your favorite podcast apps and streaming services.
Let's go! This is the Said No One Ever podcast.
A podcast about things you never knew you wanted to hear about.
I'm Ian Bennett.
And I'm Martin Moore.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Said No One Ever podcast. If you haven't checked out the podcast already, be sure to subscribe for new episodes every Wednesday. If you like the show, and we really hope you do, maybe leave a nice 5-star review, a nice little comment or something like that. If you don't like it, maybe keep it to yourself.
Yeah, they do like it.
Dude, episode 4. We're out of the honeymoon phase.
Hey.
We're grinding. We're popping off episodes.
Hey. No, dude, I'm feeling good. Yeah, episode 4, man. We're just hitting. Honestly, they're bangers.
This is episode 4, right?
They're bangers. They're bangers. They're bangers.
Yeah, episode 4.
I just feel like we're hitting everybody with like just new content, different stuff, and we're talking about like honestly stuff that people don't talk about. Like we're keeping it real though, and that honestly for me, that's the best. You know, hashtag real talk, hashtag all that stuff. I love that because I feel like our show is going to be real and people are going to get it. You're not going to have to understand it and be like,
for sure.
Oh, I need to listen to every. No, you know what it's about. We're keeping it real. Man, how was your weekend, bro? Tell me.
Giannis got hurt.
Dude.
That sucked.
Dude. Oh my gosh, I know.
The Bucks lost game 4.
Yeah.
The Brewers won. I don't really care for baseball.
Yeah,
but
I'm not a big baseball
I don't know.
guy.
I've just been tripping out on these Bucks wins.
You think they'll get it done?
Yeah, I really think they do.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. I like that. Even though Giannis is, I don't know, man.
As long as like Middleton and Holiday and everybody can be on the same page,
okay, I feel you.
on the same game, and there's not just like one person carrying the whole team. I don't know.
What about Trey Young though? Ice cold.
I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself.
All
But
right.
I don't like the way he carries himself,
Oh.
or how he looks.
Oh my, yeah, the hair. You got to do something with that hair though, right?
I mean, I have stupid looking hair, but whatever.
But no, you do something with it.
Yeah. Anyways, we have one of my favorite people on planet Earth in the studio today. She's a great friend, an intrepid leader, a creator, an entrepreneur, a writer, all kinds of things. My girl, LaShonda Wilkins, aka Speak Live Shawnee. What's up, girl?
Yes. I'm loving being here. Thank y'all for inviting me. I'm just excited.
Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do. Plug yourself.
Sure. So I am LaShonda. A lot of people call me Shawnee. Speak Life Shawnee. What I do is I highlight upcoming professionals, entrepreneurs, creatives, people that are doing positive things in the community. I am the author of Speak Life magazine, owner and operator. I need y'all to connect with me. Period. Bottom line, we're constantly pushing positive content. Like when you think of media sources out here, such as news, newspapers, when we look, we can easily have a conversation about the negativity that happens here in Milwaukee. So Speak Life, we're just always pushing positivity, and that's just it. Bottom line.
You're on the right show.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm just glad I got Martin too and you because I know I try to get you for my show, right? But then I don't know if you were dodging me. No, you were busy. I was busy. No. I was busy. You were busy. But then like Martin comes onto the show and now we got our show together. And then, oh, guess what, Ian? I got Shawnee. I'm like, dude, say what? I've been trying to get her for like a minute.
You know what?
You got fans.
I don't think
fans.
I know.
I don't remember that correctly. I think I tried to interview you first.
I don't know.
And I kept getting spent. And then you tried to interview me and you canceled because you had to travel somewhere. And then
I remember that.
And then we're here.
No, but that's the perfect thing. We're all here, but you're smart. Yeah, you got me on that one. Okay. I'm bringing it back. I'm like, oh man, okay, she's right.
But no, I understand. I've been watching you work, and I love seeing you work. Like literally, I'm enjoying this moment just because I love seeing the impact that you make, like on those kids. And dude, your energy is through the roof, and I knew it before I got here.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy. I'm Canadian, so we're a little different.
Okay.
I always forget you're Canadian.
Yeah, everyone always forgets that.
So, do you have a place in Canada?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Ontario?
Yeah, I'm from Ontario.
Okay, I thought
Hamilton.
Nice.
Hamilton, H-Town's finest.
Okay.
H-Town's finest.
Okay.
Man.
I love it.
Thank you so
talking
much
today?
for being here.
Tell 'em.
So the entire ethos and mantra of this show is to talk about things you never knew you wanted to hear about. And I've always had a fascination with the idea of this conversation of can Gen Z end racism. I thought it would be a really interesting approach rather than talking about how we got here with race. We all kind of know the story. And so for this show, talk about some positivity and some optimism and where are we going to be in the future? You know, how can we get to that paradisical world where everyone dances around and sings Kumbaya and all that? How can we get there? And can Gen Z really be the first generation in decades, maybe ever, to get us there? And so, I kind of want to talk about, who is Gen Z? What makes them different? Are they really in a unique position to bring change in core and structure of our society in a way that we've never seen before? How can we help them succeed? And then, after the conversation, come to our conclusions. Can they really be the beginning of ending racism?
Yeah.
And so That's a good
Who
way
is
to
Gen
conversate.
Z? Tell them.
Okay,
Tell
so
them,
Gen Z.
because you're the fat guy. This guy's got
I got facts.
Oh
I got my iPad
dude.
in front of me.
Man, if you guys ever see Martin, man,
dropping facts.
if you need anything facts or Googled or anything, just talk to Martin.
You ever see that website that's let me Google that for you?
Yes.
I love passive aggressively, like when people post comments on Facebook.
I know you.
And they're like, we don't know what COVID vaccine does. And then you go into let me Google that for you. Like, what are the effects of the COVID vaccine? And then it'll like say, let me Google that for you. I don't know, I think it's funny. Anyways, Gen Z.
All right.
Are you guys sitting down?
Yeah.
Gen Z is defined as the post-millennial generation, or and this is actually kind of clever, like post-COVID. They're now being called Zoomers.
No
Get
way.
it? Boomers,
Yeah.
but because they're zooming and video chatting, they're all called Zoomers. Anyways, it's anyone born after 1996.
Yeah.
They're the first social generation to have grown up with access to the internet and portable digital technology from a young age. And so I just squeaked into Gen X. I was born in 1980. What are you guys?
Yeah, I'm 89.
You're 89. Okay.
You're 89.
What are you?
I'm an 83.
You're 83.
Dang.
So we're all the same.
I'm a baby.
We're all the
You
same.
guys are babies.
So just think about this. This generation of kids, like the space shuttle is like history to them. 9/11 is history to them.
Yeah.
They're like, mom jeans are cool and new. They're spending cold hard cash on mom jeans and like wearing them like they're going out of style. And so they're growing up in, they're going to be the COVID generation. They're going to be the George Floyd generation, much in the way where, we were the 9/11 generation or the Vietnam generation. And so I think all the technology and how they're connected through TikTok and everything is so accessible and viewable in the world in a way that we never kind of grew up on. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation for all of us to have and talk about how much more diverse they are and what kind of change they can bring.
Yeah.
So I guess let's talk about, what makes them different.
I think can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been yapping, so I'm gonna shut up for a little bit.
So I just love this conversation because I look at this particular generation and we know they're totally different than how we grew up. I mean, just the way that they think, the way that they act, the things that they desire is just completely different from when we grew up. But like you just mentioned, all of those things that they've been through, not in a negative way, but just in a true way. This is a generation of trauma, literally.
Oh, 100%.
Like from 9/11 on up, a recession. I mean, like they're literally a generation full of trauma. They don't know life without trauma. So how could they even know what the norm was? I think that provides a lot of opportunity, right? Like they have an opportunity to create the norm with them being the future. It's just so many different aspects. I think it's going to take a lot of work, and it's just going to start with the mind, honestly.
I love that.
That's what I think it is.
I love that because I think that's huge because I think to Gen Z, the biggest thing for me, which I love is,
and you have your kids are Gen Z.
Yeah. So like they're creating the thing I like is whatever they want to be. Right. And like, they're honestly like identifying whatever they want to be too. And honestly, some people are like, oh, that's meant like you're born, you're a certain way. And I'm like, I agree with that. But if you feel a certain way, they're bold enough and they're taking that responsibility. Where, you know what, I want to be a boy or I want to be a girl. Don't call me he or like, and honestly, it's the little things, but people are like, oh, what is this? But honestly, I love that. I think they're stepping 100%. Out of the side of the box. They're really going out there because they've been exposed to a lot. So I think people got to understand that first, right? If we're not exposed to all this stuff, maybe you have a generation that's more chill, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of our fault that we have this going on because now kids are probably like, man, this is crazy. So I'm going to identify what I want to be. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I feel like that's why people are getting mad, but that was the outcome of kind of us.
Oh, for sure. We created the world. We manifested the world that they grew up in. They didn't grow up on a blank canvas. And so all the access that they have to the internet and everything, all the stuff, we gave them that. So,
how do we change our culture? Like, how do we change it? Like, I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take, but like, how do we really make an impact and indent in the culture? Like, what do we got to do?
You know what? To be honest, I believe it just starts with ourselves. We have to realize we are the community that we want to change. That means that we have to change individually. And you have to realize that everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a position to hold. Just because, I might have been created to make magazines. You could just be you could be a teacher, you can be a firefighter, you can be an athlete. You can be a videographer. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter what you do, just grab a kid. You know what I'm saying? Or make sure that you're exposing what you do to kids. Make sure that you just do the best and be the best person that you can be. Yeah. That's how it starts. Yeah. And we got to open up our mindsets to realize that everybody doesn't just want to screw each other over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, okay, I get it. You can't trust everybody, but you got to take a risk. And we need to develop a culture that we can trust each other. Like, that's just really it.
Gen Z, again, is fascinating to me. And, you know, when Ian brought up the point about, you know, how do we put a dent in this problem? How do we get to that, again, that paradisical serendipity where, you know, everyone is just feeling each other and not at each other's throats and all this stuff? Is there an opportunity for them to really make a real impact and make a real difference in a way we haven't seen since the 60s or maybe ever in this country?
That's a big question. I don't know.
That was a long question.
Yeah, geez, man. You're like writing a book or something.
I think 2020 speaks for itself. You know, it as a whole, you know, Gen Z, millennials, baby boomers, we're tired.
Yeah.
We're tired of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's the year 2021. So it's just the Gen Z. The thing is, I think they're more dangerous. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
They don't care. Like
they
ready.
I mean,
they're like the army.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
they get together on TikTok, and if there's something they don't like, that they're out there and they're marching and they're relentless about it. They're not just going out there for a weekend so that they can make some content. They're not just posting a black square on their Instagram and then moving on to whatever the next social media fad is. They're out there in the streets doing real work, trying to make real change.
Yeah.
It's like
they're serious.
It's like with racism though. Like for me, like I want racism to end, but that's not like I'm gonna go a smaller picture because we want racism to end, but at the end of the day, we just got to educate because you know how racism is gonna end. I keep telling everyone is when everyone's mixed.
Oh yeah,
that's the only way. Everyone can say whatever, but until everyone's mixed, then you can't write because then that's the only way. Because then you're gonna have I got a mixed kid, I got a mixed kid, so that's the only way.
Yeah.
It's gonna end.
I like that. I mix. I can agree because it's coming together. You know what I mean? Coming together.
Yes.
Secondly, even if it's not necessarily mixed, it's a matter of teaching. Like what you just said. Racism was taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree.
Or you may feel like it was inherited, right? Because since you were a kid, you've been having these types of feelings, but it was actually taught, and it's a generational thing. So it's gonna take that one person in that white family or in that black family or whatever color family it is. It's going to take that one person to make a change. Whatever change that is, you know, to be able to talk to other people. Like I always say, when it comes to white people, in my opinion, I think that black people marching, of course, it's effective because it shows us, you know, it shows our passion and whatnot. But I think that to make an impact on white people that don't like you, it's going to take another white person because they don't like you. So it doesn't matter how much you march, and
they need to see other white people need to see someone like me and you know interacting. And you know, it sounds stupid, and I don't know how other way to phrase it, but like black people aren't as scary as you think they are. You know, as the news and the TV
just have
and your
a conversation. Because
then
then I'm telling you, you'll have a lot in common. It might be different backgrounds, but then you'll have a lot in common, and you'll be like, oh wow. So it's for me, it's tough. Like, will Gen Z end racism? You know, probably not. But I just think we just need to educate, and we just need to hopefully we live long enough where we can, you know, see a world where there is no racism, you know? Right.
I love the perspective though, what you're saying though. You know, I think that they're going to be able to make a huge impact in eliminating
they'll put a dent. Yeah, they'll put
like
a dent in
a
it.
huge
because if you think about how many generations we have here, think about how many baby boomers, and I'm not saying all baby boomers are racist, but I mean, again, this stuff is all passed down generationally, and it does get better. It may seem like the world's ending, but you look at like the 1960s compared to now, it is significantly better. And so, you know, what happens when these older generations are pushed out of education and out of then they're not CEOs anymore, and then the next generation comes in
position of power, right?
And the next generation comes in, and now they hold all the cards politically, and they hold all the cards hiring people. They're no longer going to be like not want to hire someone who just because of the color of their skin, but because on their credentials, because they don't see the world the way a lot of the older generations do. And I'm honestly, I'm really hopeful that that's kind of the sort of mantra and mindset and ethos that a lot of these young kids, again, who are flocking to more urban areas, more metropolitan areas for the opportunity, are going to feel and kind of run things.
Okay, now, as a disclaimer, I am not a spoken word artist, but this is a piece that I feel God gave to me. It was August 28th, 2015, and it's called I Speak Life. So I just want to do that for you.
Please.
All right. I speak life to the dead and the dead minds of successful dreams. I speak life to the dead, and when I say dead, I mean the death that still breathes. I speak life to the heart and the heart of those that have been broken. I speak life to the heart that is healed through the words that are spoken. I speak life to the lost, for the lost will be found. I speak life to the pain, for the pain will be gain. I speak life to the hate, for the hate will turn to love. I speak life. I speak life to you and death to the attack of everything that comes your way to try to hold you back. I speak life to you and death to the energy that attempts to enter your spirit to try to bring you down. I speak life to you and death to the psychological trick that came to invade your mind, your mental, your thoughts. I speak life. I speak life to the dream. I speak life to the UNITY, the king, children, and the queen. I speak life to the dream. I speak life to the UNITY, the king, children, and the queen. I speak life to the dream. I speak life to the greatness, maximization, and substancing of you and me. I speak life to the dream. I speak life to the red. I speak life to the black. I speak life to the green. I speak life to the dream. I speak life to the dream. I speak life.
Dude, I got goosebumps. Dude, I got goosebumps. Dude, I got goosebumps. That's fire. That's fire. That, oh my gosh.
Dude, you're an asset.
Dude,
you are an asset.
Dude,
you are an asset.
Dude,
to...
she is like, oh my gosh, superhero. AKA Oprah /50. Oh my God. And no, and she can speak and common. Yo, she's like right. Oprah, 50, and common in one. Gosh. Oh my gosh, she blew me away. Not lying. You know me.
This is why I love you.
It takes a lot to blow me away.
Okay.
She's the truth.
She really is. And you know, as someone who's I try to participate in the better of this city and do my small little part. And I remember when I met you, just your energy, your vibe, the spirit that you brought to just around me. I could just feel your positive energy. I'm so glad to know you and to be able to have you on the show with me and Ian. Hear your thoughts. Just feed off your energy. God, I just love it.
Yes,
I'm so glad.
Thank you so much.
You were able to hop on this episode with us.
Thank you for having me. I love being here. So make sure y'all invite me back.
Oh, for sure.
Don't forget about me, Ian. Yeah. You know you.
No, you might forget about me after the stuff I heard. You might
forget about you.
All right. Thank you, Shani.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Man, I'm sad, but it's coming to the end. Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Martin, it was great. We posted this together, man. This was awesome.
This is amazing.
Make sure you guys go to live-4.org to donate.
Thank you, all members, for being a part of all this thing. If you're not a member, please head to the National Podcast Association.com. The link is below if you haven't joined already.
Great job, man. Thanks, bro.
Oh. Hold on. Let's do a...
Yes. That was...
Dude, that's... Unique, New York. Unique, New York. The aardvark had an oddly shaped
Let me get my voice.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
I feel good.
The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
So good.
All right, dude.
Oh.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Ready when you are, buddy. Ready when you are. Oh gosh. You're looking around? You're looking around, Ty? You are looking around like it was somebody else's and it's in your pocket. You'll find me everywhere. MySpace. MySpace.
Give you guys an idea of to highlight some of the national.
Tyler. Gosh. Gosh.
My apologies.
freaking love this. I love you guys.
2. Okay, you looked a little slow.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, this, dash,
You're gonna go through live force, dash
I'm
force.
like, I never knew how to put dash in when I was reading in a period, but it's good.
It's emotional. This is spiritual. This is spiritual. Oh, it's spiritual. God damn it. One more time.
I love it. Up next is a young entrepreneur. Okay? A's.
It is a lot of A's. Isn't it a lot of A's?
Yeah, but gosh. And they're laughing over there. Jeez. Peyton, don't laugh, girl. Peyton, I'm gonna come over and tackle you, girl. Why did I sound like a robot, dude?
I think that was great.
No, I thought that sounded.
I had no problem with how you said that.
Down.
Oh,
I did. Okay, can I just say my part?